Chapter 1631. 1 second to remember. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Clang, dark clouds covered the sky above the spirit abyssal peak, and a storm gathered. The wind was as sharp as a blade, and the atmosphere was tense. It was especially so for the entire Demon Eye Saint clan. They felt as if their hearts were being squeezed by an invisible hand, making it hard for them to breathe. Lei Kun and Li Kun stood on the east and west sides of the stage. In the middle, there was a huge ravine that split the battlefield. Lei Kun held the thunder sword, and his body was covered in lightning. He was like a god of war that looked down on the battlefield. Li Kun's eyes were tainted with a demonic purple light, and his pupils were cold. "Humph, the Thunder Saint clan is too much. Ha 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 ha." Lei Kun sneered. "The winner is king, and the loser is bandit. If you have the ability, please protect the last dignity of the Demon Eye Saint clan. It's not up to you to remind me. Make your move." Li Kun raised his arms and clenched his fists. Purple light flowed out of his body like a column of shadow wings. Lei Kun raised his eyebrows, and a mocking smile appeared on his face. "I'll let you make the first move. You're courting death." Li Kun shouted, and his eyes emitted an extraordinary spatial rhythm. He clenched his fists and opened his fingers. Whoosh, in an instant, a majestic purple flame tsunami rushed towards Lei Kun. "It's the burning desolation Saint demonic flame." Everyone in the audience was secretly shocked. Yes, although the burning desolation Saint demonic flame is slightly inferior to the destructive godly punishment flame, its lethality should not be underestimated. Li Kun is not simple to be able to unleash such a huge amount of demonic flame in an instant. A skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. No matter what, the Demon Eye Saint clan is one of the 10 strongest Saint physique. Even so, the Thunder Saint clan is not an ordinary horse. This horse is much bigger than a camel. The violent burning desolation demon flame swept forward with an earth-shattering momentum, and in an instant, it occupied a large area of the high firmament terrace. Under the control of Li Kun, the solitary burning evil flame circled around the Thunder Kun from both sides, then it formed a terrifying whirlpool storm that spanned thousands of feet, shrouding it. "Humph, I'm going to teach you a lesson, you dog." Li Kun's side profile was suffused with a wisp of ruthlessness. Li Kun hated the Lightning Emperor to the core from the eastern square of the preliminary round to the Emperor's throne stage and the Thunder Kun pointing his sword at the Demon Eye Saint clan's spectator seat. The earth-shattering purple storm invaded and compressed the Thunder Kun's range of activity. After that, Li Kun clenched his fist from afar and shouted in a grim voice, "Burial silence, strangle. Strangle." It was a stronger killer move derived from the original foundation of the demon pupil's power. The moment he finished speaking, the inner side of the rapidly revolving storm suddenly became sharp. It looked like countless rapidly rotating purple slices, tearing the air apart and mincing everything. Humph, there was no trace of fear on the Thunder Kun's face. Just as the destructive force gathered in front of him from all directions, the Thunder Kun's eyes flashed with dazzling lightning arcs. Then, he gripped his sword with both hands and pointed it upwards. Tens of thousands of lightning bolts bloomed like holy light. Boom! The dazzling lightning beams were like dragons dancing in the air, intertwining with each other and rapidly converging into a piercingly cold and extraordinary sky-splitting sword pillar. Thunder slash! With a cold shout, the thunder sword slashed forward with earth-shattering momentum. Clang! Bang! The heavens and earth trembled and the universe lost its color. The sword pillar that gathered endless lightning broke through the layers of purple demonic flame storm like a broken stream. Along with the huge ravine on the ground, the purple tsunami was forcefully split apart to the left and right. The Thunder Kun glanced directly at Li Kun, who was at the end of the ravine with a playful gaze. If you can withstand 5 moves from me, I'll consider it my loss." 5 moves? As soon as the Thunder Kun said that, the audience couldn't help but gasp. Arrogant! How arrogant! No matter what, Li Kuan was also a descendant of the demon Eye Saint clan. Although he was far less popular than the super monsters of the other clans, he was still a quasi-emperor expert. How dare the Thunder Kuan speak so arrogantly? Li Kuan's face turned cold. Humph, don't think too much of yourself. No matter how weak I am, I'm not someone an arrogant person like you can compare with, ha 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 ha. Here I come. The Thunder Kuan's face showed a hint of a crazy and hideous sneer. Crack! The sound of rapid electric arcs cutting the airflow was very crisp. Everyone only saw a series of arcs flashing in front of their eyes. The Thunder Kuan rose with his sword, dragging a series of silver arcs in the void. The cold and extraordinary aura immediately pressed in front of Li Kuan, and the terrifying sword momentum crushed down on him. Humph! Li Kuan's eyes turned cold, and the 7 black dots in his pupils spun rapidly. Boom! As a scorching purple demonic flame rose between the heavens and the earth, the platform around Li Kuan cracked and exploded. Countless purple beams of light intertwined with each other, and then a domineering colossus that was hundreds of meters tall suddenly appeared in front of Li Kuan. It's the destruction demon spirit! Someone in the audience exclaimed. TSK, the power of the demon eye is still strong. It will be a little difficult for the Thunder Kuan to win in 5 moves. The destruction demon spirit's body was burning with purple flames, emitting the aura of a demon god. Its huge arms stretched out, and its 5 fingers were like the hand of a demon god, grabbing towards the Thunder Kuan. Heh! Lei Kuan did not panic in the slightest, nor did he have any intention of dodging. Lei Qing held his sword in front of him, and used the form of a frontal thrust to meet the sky-covering hand of the demon spirit of destruction. In the process of moving, the Thunder Kuan's speed skyrocketed, and at the same time, its body was surrounded by countless lightning beams. The lightning arcs that were dragged backwards flowed on the blade like a gust of wind. The Thunder Kuan instantly turned into a sharp lightning shadow blade, directly attacking the destruction demon spirit's huge hand. Clang! The lightning exploded, and the light shot out in all directions. Accompanied by a deafening loud noise, the lightning shadow blade that the Thunder Kuan turned into directly pierced through the destruction demon spirit's huge hand. Chi-chi, countless dazzling and manic lightning rays were like a bunch of cold spears, wantonly moving in front and behind the palm. Ah! So strong! Everyone's pupils faintly trembled and shrank. The Thunder Kuan's aura was too domineering, and they couldn't even block it. Before Li Kuan could react, the Thunder Kuan, who had pierced through the destruction demon spirit's palm, once again slashed in the air. Whoosh! A beam of shocking lightning light tore through the sky, like a divine punishment descending on the world. In an instant, the entire right arm of the destruction demon spirit that Li Kuan had summoned was cut off by the dazzling sword light. The huge right arm instantly separated from the destruction demon spirit's shoulder. However, an even more terrifying sword aura quickly attacked Li Kuan, who was behind the demon spirit. Everyone was shocked. The Demon Eye Clan's group was also shocked. Li Kuan was even more shocked. You! His purple eyes trembled slightly, but he didn't even have time to react. The Thunder Kuan's figure suddenly turned into a beam of light and rushed over. Light, Sword Su Dao. A cold and mocking voice seemed to invade Li Kuan's eardrums from all directions and different angles. Then, an unparalleled murderous aura attacked. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next second, streaks of crisscrossing lightning bolts crisscrossed around Li Kuan's body. Every silver lightning beam was like an aurora laser cutting through space. Sharp. Beautiful. The light was like a shuttle illuminating the world. The especially gorgeous scene stunned everyone's visual nerves. This scene was no less spectacular than the shocking scene of the battle between Yu Shinin and Chen Jingfeng. Looking from afar, Li Kuan seemed to be trapped in an extremely irregular three-dimensional lightning net, with lightning sources bursting with extremely strong cutting power flashing around him. Hiss, the sound of flesh being cut was clear and ear-piercing. Lee Kuan's body was covered in bloody wounds one after another. Lee Kuan? The Demon Eye clan's members were ashen-faced. Sirius Star Guard Rao Filwan clenched his fists anxiously. In the blink of an eye, Lee Kuan was already covered in blood. Right when he was about to grit his teeth and try to break free, a voice that was filled with disdain and ridicule resounded by his ears. Heh, looks like I overestimated you. You don't even need 5 moves. I don't need it. What? Lee Kuan was shocked. Swoosh. In the next moment, a lightning shadow flashed, and a fierce figure suddenly appeared on the right side of Lee Kuan's figure. Panic spread on Lee Kuan's face. Before he could retreat. Hiss, the hurried sound of a sharp weapon piercing through flesh rang out once again. Lee Kuan's eyes almost split apart as he immediately felt an intense pain coming from his chest. He saw a sharp sword flickering with silver electric arcs directly penetrating his body. You are too weak. Also, remember my name, Thunder Kuan. Chapter 1632. You're too weak. Also, remember my name, Lei Kuan. His thunderous voice reverberated throughout the entire high heaven platform. Lei Kuan. It was like a forceful declaration of sovereignty. Boom. In an instant, the entire high heaven platform was in an uproar. Everyone's face was brimming with shock. However, everyone from the Demon Eye Saint clan was aghast. The Sirius Star Guard Rao Filwan, the 4th Elder, and the others all paled. Their eyes widened in shock and anger. Shock. Everyone's heart was still pounding. On the platform, the mountainous Nirvana demon spirit quickly disintegrated into thousands of crystal fragments. The tsunami-like purple demonic flames also quickly subsided. The hearts of everyone from the Demon Eye Saint clan sank along with the flames. Hey, you're too weak. Is this the extent of your Demon Eye Saint clan? Lei Kuan's indifferent and arrogant expression appeared on his face. The clear lightning sword in his hand continuously flickered with wild and joyful little lightning arcs. The blade of the sword, which was intertwined with fluorescent light, directly pierced through Lee Kuan's back, like a ray of light flowing out. Lee Kuan was covered in blood. His eyes uncontrollably returned from the demonic purple to their original color. His pale face was filled with unwillingness and anger, but also helplessness. The various saint clans all had different expressions. Some were slightly regretful. Some were pitying. There were also some who were gloating at his misfortune. Sigh. Yen Hanyu from the Sky Burning clan and Qin Jingfeng from the Star Saint clan looked at each other and couldn't help but shake their heads and smile. Compared to Lee Kuan, they were considered lucky. Ha, what a good show. Long Mie from the Dragon Blood Saint clan didn't care. He crossed his arms in front of him and sneered. Wu Yuan from the Wilderness Saint clan and Lu Yuji from the Luanhui Saint clan also smiled frivolously. He's asking to be humiliated, Lu Yuji said disdainfully. Yu Shinin raised his eyebrows. Compared to the others, he seemed to be indifferent, as if the scene on the platform didn't affect him much. That's a bit ruthless. The crowd gradually came to their senses. The Thunder Kuan is too strong. No wonder the Thunder Sacred Clan has been unwilling to reveal his existence for so many years. His talent is no less than the super geniuses of the strongest sacred clans. Times are really changing. The Demon Eye Sacred Clan might really have to step down from the top. Countless people couldn't help but look at the Thunder Emperor on the Emperor's throne platform. At this moment, everyone came to a realization that the spot below him had completely belonged to him. Thunder Saint Clan, the strongest Saint Clan. Thunder Saint Clan, the strongest Saint Clan. At this moment, someone below the stage had already begun to make an announcement. More and more people followed suit. The most dazzling light was concentrated on the Thunder Kuan. Lee Kuan, who was in front of it, was like a speck of dust living in the shadow of the Thunder Kuan. For the Demon Eye Saint Clan, the entire world had sunk into darkness. Looking at Lee Kuan, who was unable to move under the Thunder Kuan sword, everyone had a deep sense of helplessness on their faces. Powerless. It was not that he was unwilling. It was not hatred either. There was only helplessness. Even the hot-tempered serious Star Guard Rao Failwan helplessly closed his eyes, unable to bear to witness this scene. And the fourth elder, the poor old man who had been struggling to support the revival of the demon I sacred clan, had aged more than 10 years. His stooped posture seemed as if he could no longer stand upright. His turbid old eyes seemed to never be able to see the light. The last glimmer of hope in their hearts had been quickly devoured by the darkness. "Congratulations, Lightning Emperor!" The Chaos Emperor chuckled with a profound meaning. Not far away, the Dragonblood Emperor said faintly, "This moment will go down in history." The other great emperors also looked over with different expressions. This time, the Lightning Emperor didn't show the fear that he had before. On his face, there was only the imposing, domineering, and high-spirited expression of a new emperor ascending to the throne. At this stage, the world would have nothing to say. Even though you're also a quasi-emperor, you're really too weak. You can't even withstand a single blow. Lei Kuan placed one hand on Li Kuan's shoulder and slowly pulled out the thunderclear sword with the other. It was a killing move. It was far more ruthless than what Hidden Yu Shun had done to Chen Jingfeng and Yan Hanyu. Whoosh! When the sword left his opponent's body, Li Kuan couldn't help but tremble. His twisted face was filled with anger. "Kill me if you can. Otherwise, I'll definitely kill you one day. Ha 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 ha." Lei Kuan laughed disdainfully. "You can only rely on your tongue. You're trash who can't even withstand 5 moves from me. Why would I be afraid of you?" As he spoke, he slowly moved his hand to Li Kuan's collar. "Live on in such an ugly manner. It's better for you to be forgotten by others. I, Lei Kuan, will accept the last shred of dignity you left behind." As soon as he finished speaking, Lei Kuan exerted force in his arm and directly dragged Li Kuan off the stage. Then, he kicked Li Kuan's body heavily in the air. Bang! A powerful shockwave rippled out. Li Kuan, who was already heavily injured, immediately bent over and spurted out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets as he fell onto the stage like a sandbag. He uncontrollably dragged a long mark on the ground as he slid all the way to the edge of the stage. How could he destroy human desires? This kick. It crushed the last shred of dignity of the demon I Saint clan. Trample! Merciless trample! The entire demon I Saint clan's mood fell to the bottom. Their minds were blank, and no one even went forward to support Li Kuan. The Thunder Saint clan's momentum rose. The audience was already cheering. Spirit Empress Peak's Lord Shangguan Wutsa slightly raised his head and was about to announce the result. Buzz! A soft airwave suddenly rose from the edge of the Lingshao balcony. Li Kuan, who had been thrown out, suddenly stopped on the balcony. Then, everyone's heart skipped a beat. Who is this person? Most people's eyes were filled with confusion. On the side of the divine I Saint clan, Bai Qianyu's beautiful eyes rippled as a trace of surprise appeared on her beautiful face. Next to Li Kuan, a slightly skinny and slender figure appeared. His young and handsome face was firm as if it had been carved by a knife. The people from the demon I Saint clan looked at each other in confusion. As the atmosphere gradually cooled down, the young figure slowly walked around Li Kuan and towards the central area of the high firmament platform. What's going on? Who is this person? Is he going to challenge Lei Kuan? Are you kidding me? Isn't he courting death? At the same time, Li Wushang immediately went forward and brought the unconscious Li Kuan back to the demon I Saint clan. Heavenly Wolf Star Guard Rao Filwan looked at Li Wushang in surprise. Li Wushang nodded slightly without saying a word. A cold wind blew in all directions, and chilling air currents filled the sky. Looking at the young figure, Lei Kuan raised his eyelids slightly and a hint of coldness appeared in his eyes. Interesting, Li Kuan didn't say anything. Zap zap. Then, a purple electric arc appeared in his palm. Shing! A sharp sword suddenly appeared in his hand. Surrounded by purple lightning arcs, the sharp sword quickly grew longer and turned into a sharp spear. The blade of the spear swayed with electric arcs as it dragged across the platform, leaving a neat and deep mark in the air. Everyone's expressions changed slightly. They couldn't help but feel their heartstrings tighten. It was as if every step the other party took was like an invisible hammer pounding on everyone's chest. The swift and fierce long spear dragged across the ground, as if it was slashing at the hearts of the crowd. There was an indescribable sharpness to it. When the distance between the two of them was less than 1,000 feet, the young figure suddenly raised the long spear in his hand. A 3-feet-long spear light flashed, and the cold spear tip was pointed at the Thunder Kuan in front of him. Just like how Lei Kuan had pointed at Li Kuan. Pointing a spear at someone was the most direct form of provocation. It was also the most direct form of insult. It was even more disdainful than pointing a sword at someone. Purple electric arcs seemed to flash in the young man's eyes. Then, the corners of his mouth lifted slightly as he spat out a few words. "If you can take 5 moves from me, I'll consider it your win." Chapter 1633. If you can take 5 of my moves, you win. Similar words. Spoken by different people. These were the words Lei Kuan had said to Li Kuan. Wow! Instantly, the entire Tower of Heaven's arena was in an uproar. Everyone looked at the young figure pointing his spear at Lei Kuan in shock. How arrogant! How arrogant! Even the super geniuses of the strongest sacred clan wouldn't dare to say something like that now, right? Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Even Yan Hanyu, Chen Jingfeng, Lu Tingyu, and the others looked at the person on the stage in shock. This guy? Everyone from the abysmal Saint tribe looked at each other. Is he the one who came with Miss Mengchang? Yes, that's him. He's from the Demon Eye tribe, right? However, it wasn't just the abysmal Saint tribe. Even the people from the Demon Eye tribe looked solemn. I can't see through him at all. Qingwen and Yi Kong, who had gone to Kuan City to receive Chuhen, were also shocked. Even serious Star Guard Rao Filwan furrowed his brows. Because, at that moment, even he could not see through Chuhen's depth. Apart from being surprised, there were people in the audience who were shocked, and there were also people who were disdainful. That person is probably crazy, right? He defeated Lei Kuan in 5 moves. How could he say that? Does he think he's Yu Shenying or Emo Nanquan? Even Yu Shenying and Emo Nanquan might not be able to defeat Lei Kuan in a few moves. Reincarnation Saint Tribe Yu Shenying. Whether it was outside the arena or outside the arena, he was definitely an eye-catching existence. He'd only used 4 and 5 moves to defeat Yan Hanyu and Chen Jingfeng. On the other hand, Emo Nanquan from the Devouring Saint Tribe defeated Yao Yong from the Great Desolation Saint Tribe in 3 moves. Everyone subconsciously glanced at the seats of the Samsara Sacred Tribe and the Devouring Sacred Tribe when faced with these sensitive numbers. Emo Nanchuan's expression was relatively calm. Just like the other spectators, he quietly watched the changes on the stage. As for Yu Shenying, there was no need to mention him. No matter the time, he would always look indifferent and lazy. Another one who's asking to be humiliated. Lu Yuji sneered disdainfully. The piercingly cold air quietly became hurried. The air flow on the Lingshao rooftop seemed to be accelerating. Sensing the sharp provocation that was emitted from the cold spear in Chu Hen's hand, Lei Kuan's face was quietly covered with frost. However, the corner of his mouth was lifted into a somewhat dark sneer. 5 moves? Lei Kuan let out a soft sigh, his expression somewhat thought-provoking. I don't want to know who you are at all right now. Because... His voice paused, and his gaze became extremely fierce. Right now, I just want to remove your head and limbs. Chu Hen raised an eyebrow. Are you ready? You're courting death. Killing intent surged in Lei Kuan's eyes. The thunder-raising sword in his hand erupted with resplendent silver lightning. Then, holding the sword, he left behind an afterimage of a lightning arc and rushed towards Chu Hen with a murderous aura. At the same time, Chu Hen flipped his wrist and loosened his 5 fingers. Clang! A steady and impassioned metallic sound rang out. The cold spear formed by the formless Tharch blade suddenly burst out. Violent purple lightning arcs intertwined around the tip of the spear like an active horned dragon spirit vine. A cold light arrived first, and then the spear shot out like a dragon. An extraordinary and domineering aura shot out like a rainbow. A heavy spear with the power to break an army directly stabbed in front of Lei Kuan. Lei Kuan's eyes slightly narrowed, and he directly took out the thunder-raising sword in his hand. The sharp sword blade also carried an extremely powerful penetrating force as it met the cold spear. Bang! Thunder crisscrossed, and the sound was deafening. The tip of the silver sword accurately met the tip of the purple spear. The 2 extreme points met and collided, and suddenly thousands of lightning arcs burst out. However, in the next second, with a whoosh, a strong and powerful arm firmly grasped the front of the long spear. Everyone in the audience was shocked. Flying immortal flash? Mount Kunlia's sect master, Gong Yangyu, who also came to the Sacred Race Conference venue, couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He immediately recognized that this was a move from the one-sword flying immortal technique that he relied on to become famous in the past. But the current Chu Hen had already practiced this move to the point of perfection. As he wished, he could instantly carry out long-distance teleportation. The moment his arm grasped the cold spear, a handsome and indifferent young face was reflected in Lei Kuan's eyes. A chaotic wave of air spread out. Lei Kuan's face flashed with a sinister look. Hey, not bad speed. The first move. Chu Hen calmly spat out a few words. What? Lei Kuan was shocked. As soon as his voice fell, Chu Hen's deep and dark eyes suddenly turned a demonic purple. Screech, along with a sharp vibration in the air, a strange energy wave rippled like the surface of water. Looking at Chu Hen's purple eyes, Lei Kuan's consciousness was in a trance for a moment. Illusion technique? Lei Kuan quickly calmed his mind. However, in the blink of an eye, Chu Hen tilted his body and gave a heavy sweeping kick, firmly striking the Thunder Kuan's chest. Bang! A heavy, muffled explosion sounded as if it had been hit by a huge hammer. A circle of mighty purple air shock waves suddenly spread out in front of Lei Kuan. The latter's eyes widened, and he directly spat out a mouthful of blood as he flew backward. Oh my God! The sudden scene caused countless people in the audience to stare with their eyes wide open. One kick made Lei Kuan vomit blood? Wasn't this too shocking? And, when everyone saw Chu Hen's purple eyes, which were emitting a demonic aura, the atmosphere that could not be suppressed exploded even more. Demon eyes. It's the bloodline limit of the demon eye sacred body, demon eyes. How frivolous those 2 words were before was how serious they were now. Chen Jingfeng, Yan Hanyu, Long Mia, Mo Nanquan, Lu Yuji, and the other super geniuses frowned. They couldn't help but be shocked. It's another pair of demon eyes? Isn't Lei Kuan the most powerful person in the Demon Eye Sacred Clan? I know him. Meng Shilin, who was standing behind Chen Jingfeng, said. Oh! His name is Chu Hen. Back then, he led his people to destroy the War God Palace that the primitive Holy Clan set up in the Midland, and Meng Shilin paused and even glanced at Bai Qianyu, who was in the audience. At that time, Miss Qinyu asked me, Di Qiong, and Lu Mian to help him out. What? Bai Qianyu asked them to help Chu Hen out? Chen Jingfeng didn't seem to dare to believe what he heard. The Miss of the Divine Eye Sacred Clan helped the people of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan? This kind of thing had never happened since ancient times. At the same time, Di Qiong also whispered something in Yan Hanyu's ear. Chen Jingfeng and Yan Hanyu glanced at Bai Qianyu at the same time. At that moment, Bai Qianyu was just quietly looking at the high sky terrace. Although there didn't seem to be much emotional change on the surface, there was a faint trace of deep and complicated emotion in her beautiful peach blossom eyes. They knew each other. She and Chu Hen definitely knew each other. Chen Jingfeng and Yan Hanyu immediately came to a conclusion, because Bai Qianyu had never looked at them like that before. Moreover, their relationship was not ordinary. It seemed a little funny. Divine eye, demon eye. What kind of enemy and destiny was this? Buzz. Lei Kuan, who was sent flying by Chu Hen, felt the blood in his body churning and his internal organs trembling. His eyes flashed with a strong sense of fierceness. You really deserve to die. Lei Kuan's anger rose, and he immediately erupted with an incomparably cold and majestic sword aura. Light sword Su Dao. Full of murderous intent, he launched an attack from all directions from different angles. A sudden and cold murderous aura spread across the entire arena. Swish! Swish! The Thunder Kuan instantly turned into a pair of light wings and disappeared from its original position. Crisscrossing in the air, lightning beams crisscrossed around Chu Hen's body. For example, the aurora laser that cut time and space. Sharpness. Resplendent. The light was like a shuttle illuminating the world. In the previous match, this sword directly laid the foundation for defeating Lei Kuan. Obviously, Lei Kuan was angry. The wantonly shuttling intertwining light beams quickly cut the space around Chu Hen. However, before those aurora thunder blades reached Chu Hen, his demonic purple eyes slightly tilted, and then Chu Hen's palm condensed in the air. Whoosh! A sharp and loud sound of air waves was stirred up, and a condensed purple light beam swept out like a laser. Clang! The sound of thunder being cut pierced the ears. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the purple light from Chu Hen's palm directly cut off one of the silver electric beams. And the moment the light beam was cut off, a string of blood splattered in the air. A sword-wielding figure with beautiful electric arcs flickering all over his body appeared high up in the sky. The center of his chest was forcibly pierced through by the purple lightning in Chu Hen's palm from the front to the back. Boom! Everyone present was shocked. Chu Hen spat out 3 words indifferently. The second move. Chapter 1634. The second move. His indifferent tone was as light as the ripples on the surface of the water. However, in the ears of everyone present, it caused their blood to boil, and huge waves surged in their hearts. 2 moves. Every move drew blood. On the Ling Shao platform, Chu Hen held an 8-foot cold spear surrounded by a purple radiance. The spear radiance in his palm was intertwined with lightning. His cold aura revealed his peerless sharpness. Light sword Su Dao's move did not even have the slightest effect before it was strangled by Chu Hen. The purple light beam stunned the heavens and earth. Under tens of thousands of shocked gazes, it severed the silver lightning pillar and pierced through the Thunder Kuan's chest. Warm blood danced in the air. The Thunder Kuan's eyes widened in shock and anger. Watching this scene, the geniuses of the various sacred clans were shocked. So powerful! Someone exclaimed. Lei Kuan. Chu Hen. It was the same pair of eyes, but the degree of shock it brought to people was on a completely different level. Not only were the other races shocked, but even the demonic eye sacred clan widened their eyes. He is. Rao Failwan of the Sirius Star Guard looked at the platform in shock, then at the 4th elder not far away. The latter's shriveled lips trembled slightly, and his pair of turbid old eyes faintly glowed with a hint of light. Who are you? Lei Kuan gripped the lightning sword in his hand tightly. He was filled with anger and killing intent. Chu Hen lifted his eyelids and smirked. Perhaps you really don't know anything about the demonic eye's power. Next, I'll show you what the sacred demonic eye physique is. The surroundings of the Lingshao platform seemed to be startled by an ancient, dreamlike chant. Then, under countless gazes filled with incomparable astonishment, 8 black dots suddenly appeared in the depths of Chu Hen's demonic purple eyes. Clank! The heavens and earth lost their color, and the wind and clouds changed. A powerful energy wave penetrated the depths of everyone's soul like a bolt of lightning. 8-star demonic eye kaboom! Everyone's expression changed dramatically. The fourth elder of the demonic eye sacred clan, Rao Filwan, and the others rose to their feet and clenched their fists. Brother Chuhen has broken through to the 8-star demon eyes? Yi Yao, Qiao Shaowan, Long Qingyang and the rest were shocked as well. Rumble! Then, the surface of the Lingshao platform suddenly cracked inch by inch, and countless purple light pillars shot straight into the Milky Way, like terrifying rays of light piercing through the earth. With Chu Hen as the center, the endless pillars of light enveloped him within. An especially terrifying sky-covering aura swept out in all directions, causing the 9 heavens to pale in comparison. A gigantic purple demonic spirit over 10,000 feet in height appeared before everyone's eyes with an earth-shattering momentum. The huge visual impact shocked everyone. Is this the Nirvana devil spirit summoned by the 8-star demon pupil? Countless people swallowed hard. This Nirvana devil spirit was worlds apart from the one summoned by Li Kuan just now. Not only was its body far larger than Li Kuan's Nirvana devil spirit, but the armor covering its body had also changed a lot. The cold and domineering armor covered its body, and the waistcoat on its arms strengthened it. The purple flowing light was dazzling, like thousands of divine spirit vines surrounding it. The most shocking thing was that behind the Nirvana devil spirit, there was a particularly spectacular pair of purple flowing lightning wings. The flowing lightning wings that spread out were like a huge electric net. It was dazzling and spectacular. For example, the monster god who controlled the universe. On the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform in the north. Looks like something bad has happened? The Antiquity Emperor raised his eyebrows and said to the Lightning Emperor, who was sitting next to him, with a hint of playful interest. The latter's thick brows were slightly raised, and there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. The other emperors couldn't help but smile thoughtfully. The situation seemed to be developing in an unexpected direction. Lei Kuan's eyes were filled with shock as he looked at the colossus that looked like an ancient monster god. This was something that he had never expected. This was also something that the other races didn't expect. This is getting interesting. Yu Shunin of the Reincarnation Saint clan seemed to be looking forward to it for the first time. Mo Nanquan of the Devourer Saint clan, Sun Yuan of the Antiquity Saint clan, and Long Mie of the Dragon Blood Saint clan were also moved. 8 stars. Bai Qianyu of the Holy-Eyed Saint clan pursed her red lips, and there was a slight ripple in her beautiful eyes. The purple lightning in the sky was like a huge net that covered the sky. A violent and oppressive aura surged toward Lei Kuan in the sky. Lei Kuan gritted his teeth, and his eyes flashed with ferocity. Don't celebrate too early. This is just the beginning, clang. The silver lightning blocked the sky. The terrifying divine power gathered like a gathering of heavenly punishment. Under the gaze of tens of thousands of people, Lei Kuan's aura exploded, and the power of its bloodline boundary was released without reservation. Then, thousands of divine lightning gathered in the sky in front of Lei Kuan. Wu, along with the earth-shattering roar of the underworld, another colossus that was as majestic as a mountain appeared in the sky. That is? Everyone's eyes widened. The giant beast's body was covered in lightning. It was so dazzling that it looked like a meteorite monster shuttling through the vast galaxy. Its body was similar to a giant whale, but its body was covered with long tentacles. It was actually a huge thunder whale Kuan. Thunder whale, destruction demon spirit. The two huge beasts faced each other across the sky, like a battle between gods and demons. Since you've become a useless race, then just let time pass. Lei Kuan roared, and his eyes shot out a deadly cold light. Rumble, after that, countless violent and terrifying pillars of silver lightning swiftly converged towards the mouth of the lightning whale. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, an extremely violent ball-shaped lightning sword energy rapidly formed in the whale Kuan's mouth. A dazzling light shone on the sky, and from afar, the mouth of the thunder whale looked like it was holding a bright star in it. At the same time, the cold spear formed by the formless Tharch blade slowly floated in front of the destruction demon spirit. Then, the destruction demon spirit raised its arms, and its palms faced the heavy spear in the middle. Zap, zap, the sound of hundreds of millions of lightning roaring stacked together. The destruction demon spirit's left arm was holding an evil purple lightning, while its right arm was holding a dark green lightning pillar. The two different colored lightning powers were like the shadow wings of a dragon python, intertwining with the cold spear. Swish! In the blink of an eye, it caused the surrounding space to distort, and the spear suddenly burst out with a dazzling stream of light. It immediately turned into a shocking spear shadow that was hundreds of feet long. Hiss! Everyone secretly gasped when they sensed the terrifying aura that emanated from the arena. Everyone was shocked that Chu Hen could also control such a powerful lightning power. What was even more unbelievable was that he could make two different kinds of lightning power perfectly match with his own demon eye power. What kind of monstrous talent is this? Isn't it too scary? Who exactly is he? Without giving anyone more time to think, the destruction demon spirit exploded with countless light pillars that soared into the sky. The thunder whale in the sky also opened its mouth wide, and the wild ball of lightning sword energy swept up the terrifying heavenly punishment that could destroy everything in its path. Disappear completely! The thunder whale roared like a god of war that could destroy the world. At the same time, the huge spear surrounded by tens of thousands of lightning shadow wings also burst out, dragging a sharp light that could pierce through the world. The third move. Chu Hen's slightly low voice came directly from the center of the destruction demon spirit's body to everyone's ears. Aurora shone in the sky. Lightning pierced through the 9 heavens. An incomparably shocking scene, like the collapse of the apocalypse, slowly appeared in everyone's vision. Bang! Boom! The silver lightning ball that looked like a meteorite soared into the sky, and the domineering lightning spear pierced through the sky. The two terrifying powers that contained extreme destructive power directly collided. In a split second, the world was turned upside down and the space cracked. The storm that ravaged the entire place surged, and the high firmament platform below shattered at a speed visible to the naked eye, rapidly disintegrating. Powerful shock waves swept out, shaking the mountains in all directions, and deep cracks appeared on the mountain walls. Everyone present stood up, wanting to leave. Some of them were even more terrified, and their legs were trembling. Countless people couldn't help but stand up, especially those from the Demon Eye Saint clan and the Thunder Saint clan. They all stood up, their eyes filled with unprecedented seriousness. Bang! Suddenly, after a short pause, a beam of light pierced through the chaotic world and tore apart the huge ball of lightning. The world lost its color. A surging silver halo spread across the sky, and countless lightning sword energy splashed above the spiritual pagoda peak. Everyone present turned pale with fright. Especially the people from the Thunder Saint clan, their expressions changed drastically. After the spear light, which was surrounded by rapid lightning, tore through the layers of storms, it still struck the enormous lightning whale with unstoppable force. Hiss, strangulation, annihilation. It was like a peerless shadow blade that pierced through space. Under the gazes of countless astonished gazes, the lightning whale exploded like a ball of water, and its enormous body was directly crushed into pieces. After that, it transformed into fragments of light that covered the sky, and it was mixed with a violent storm that swept through the heavens and the earth. Seeing this scene, Lei Kun was shocked, and his expression changed drastically. How is this possible? At this moment, a great sense of defeat quickly surged in his heart. However, at this moment, in the void filled with dust, a shadow flashed, and a long spear flew in front of Lei Kun with a powerful wave of air. The storm broke, and the light was peerless. Panicking, Lei Kun hurriedly used the thunder sword in front of him to block. Bang! The sharp tip of the spear hit the body of the thunder sword, and a circle of dazzling light bloomed. Lei Kun roared, "Go away!" But in the next second, like a phantom, the world flashed, and an arm flashing with purple lightning firmly grasped the tail of the cold spear. Crack, a series of electric lights were like spiritual vines, quickly climbing up and down the body of the spear. Especially around the tip of the spear, it became even more fierce. The fourth move, accompanied by a cold and mocking voice, the cold spear that was pressed against the middle of Lei Kuan's sword suddenly exploded with an extremely terrifying power. The terrifying and fierce impact was all concentrated at the tip of the spear. Endless light and purple light burst out from it. Ding! With a heavy sound, Lei Kuan's thunder sword, which was blocking in front of him, was directly broken. What? Everyone was shocked. Everyone's heart seemed to stop beating. Lei Kuan's pupils rapidly shrank to the size of a needle. A fear that had never appeared before immediately occupied his entire face. The cold and merciless spear tip broke Lei Kuan's sword, bringing with it a 3-foot spear light as it shot down. Warm blood splashed in the sky, and the entire world seemed to sink into darkness. Under countless pairs of eyes that were about to explode, the long spear that was swimming with manic electric arcs directly pierced through Lei Kuan's throat. The 3-foot spear shadow was filled with killing intent. It was like a storm had arrived. The peerless blade pierced through the sky. A spear pierced through Lei Kuan's blood. Chapter 1635. The 3-foot-long spear light plunged straight down. Like a bolt of lightning piercing through rocks, it pierced through the Thunder Kuan's throat. Clang! This shocking scene was like a bolt from the blue that exploded in the minds of everyone present. The scene in the void seemed to have frozen, deeply embedded in the depths of everyone's pupils. On the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform, the Thunder Emperor suddenly stood up, his eyes glaring in anger. His clenched fists flickered with lightning. The other great emperors were also shocked. The wind howled and frost filled the sky. Chu Hen's formless imperial blade, which had transformed into an 8-foot-long cold spear, was firmly fixed on the Thunder Kuan's throat. The blood-stained spear pierced through the back of the Thunder Kuan's neck. Dazzling arcs of lightning darted up and down. The Thunder Kuan's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. His fearful face was filled with disbelief. Her slightly trembling eyes reflected Chu Hen's purple pupils that were as demonic and charming as a demon god's. "Is that all you've got?" The corner of Chu Hen's mouth curled into a scimitar arc. He looked at the Thunder Kuan's swelling face with a mocking smile. "Is that all you've got?" Scolding. It was a provocation and mockery. Chu Hen's voice rose again. His voice was like a clap of thunder that shook the entire spiritual pagoda peak. "Is that all you've got? Do you think you're worthy of replacing the Demon Eye Sacred Clan?" Rumble, thunderstorms stacked up between heaven and earth, causing the hearts of everyone present to tremble. "Is that all you've got? You're not worthy?" Those words were like a resounding slap to the faces of everyone from the Thunder Sacred Clan. It was also a heavy slap to the faces of those who had been shouting that the Thunder Sacred Clan was the strongest. Dumbfounded. Everyone was dumbfounded. Those who had been shouting that the Thunder Sacred Clan was the strongest had all turned mute. It was as if the spear in Chu Hen's hand had not only pierced the Thunder Kuan's throat, but also their hearts. "You can't even take 4 of my moves. Do you think you're worthy of challenging the dignity of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan?" Every word was like a pearl. It was ear-piercing. At that moment, all the members of the Thunder Sacred Tribe turned ashen. The Thunder Emperor, who was standing on the Demon Eye Emperor's throne platform, was especially gloomy. Domineering! Tyrant's fury! The eyes of everyone from the Demon Eye Sacred Clan reddened, and they could feel their blood boiling. If one were to describe how sullen their tribe was when Lei Kuan was defeated, then they were feeling extremely carefree now. This was a mouthful of resentment. A slap to everyone's face. Furthermore, it was the resentment that he had been suppressing in his heart all these years. Well said. Heavenly Wolf Star Guard Rao Failwan couldn't help but tear up. The Demon Eye Sacred Clan will never yield. Seeing the emotional Rao Failwan, Li Wuxiang couldn't help but look up at the sky and close his reddened eyes. The light that was swallowed by the darkness once again pierced through the thick clouds and shone onto the ground. The fourth elder's murky eyes lit up with hope again. "I'm about to cry." Qiao Xiaowan's eyes were brimming with tears. Yi Yao, Long Qingyang, Long Xuanshuang, and the others were also moved by the atmosphere. They were the ones who understood Chu Hen the most. Even though Chu Hen hadn't shown any emotional fluctuations from the start, he still felt a volcano in his heart. In fact, a volcano had already been building up in his heart. From the eastern plaza of the preliminaries to the Lightning Saint Clan's overbearing display, to the Lightning Emperor stepping on the Demon Eye Emperor's throne platform and sitting on the Demon Eye Emperor's seat, to Lei Kuan pointing his sword at the Demon Eye Saint Clan's spectator seats. Everything that the Lightning Saint Clan had done had deeply stimulated Chu Hen's sensitive nerve. This was too much. This was too much. He even wanted to trample on the Demon Eye Sacred Clan's last shred of dignity. However, those who bullied others would always be bullied. Those who humiliated others would always be humiliated. The Demon Eye Sacred Clan had lost face, and Chu Hen would definitely get it back with interest. The sharp cold spear was firmly pressed against the Thunder Kuan's throat. In the face of Chu Hen's repeated rebukes, the Thunder Kuan's lips that kept spitting out blood trembled slightly, but he couldn't make a sound. Chu Hen's handsome eyebrows slightly raised, and a light and arrogant smile appeared on his face. "Remember my name, the Demon Eye Sacred Clan, Chu Hen." As soon as he finished speaking, the cold spear that had pierced through the Thunder Kuan's throat sharpened on both sides. The cold spear immediately turned into a sharp Emperor's blade. Everyone's expression suddenly changed. The Thunder Kuan's pupils shrank sharply. The fifth move. Chu Hen's voice was as cold as a cold blade. Hiss! The sound of the sharp blade cutting flesh was especially sharp and ear-piercing. Chu Hen flipped the non-phase Emperor blade in his hand, and together with a beam of world-shaking purple lightning, under countless shocked gazes, the Thunder Kuan's body was split into two. It was directly split into two halves. Rumble, horror, shock, fear. Blood rained down and organs flew everywhere. Everyone was so shocked that their heads went numb and their limbs went cold. Everyone was shocked again and again, and their expressions changed again and again. The scene in the sky was deeply imprinted in everyone's mind. "Remember my name." In the previous battle, the Thunder Kuan said this to Li Kuan with the attitude of a king. The same words, the same words, the same attitude of a king, but the position was completely reversed. The Demon Eye Sacred Clan, Chu Hen. The Thunder Kuan finally knew this name, but it was before he died. Tremble! Tremble everywhere! Chen Jingfeng, Yan Hanyu, Sun Yuan, Mo Nan, and the other monstrous geniuses couldn't help but furrow their brows, and every pair of eyes trembled uneasily. On the 10 Directions Emperor's throne stage, the Thunder Emperor's fists were clenched so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. His eyes surged with uncontrollable killing intent. The sky-scorching Emperor, who was not far away, glanced at him indifferently. The other great emperors also glanced sideways at the Thunder Emperor, who was burning with rage. Obviously, the Thunder Emperor also knew what their gazes meant. The Sacred Clan Conference. The deaths and injuries were up to fate. Even the emperors couldn't get involved in any of the battles on the stage, although his heart was filled with endless killing intent. However, the Thunder Emperor suppressed his anger in the end. The Thunder Kuan's sword was broken. The Thunder Kuan was dead. At this moment, the Thunder Saint Clan had intentionally or unintentionally humiliated the Demon Eye Sacred Clan, and now they had returned it 100-fold. Occupy the Emperor's throne stage? What a joke! Not only did the situation get out of the Thunder Saint Clan's control, but it also brought them an unexpected heavy counterattack. It's him, it's him. Suddenly, a voice filled with astonishment resounded from below the arena. Zhong Qishi was defeated by him. Murong Yao and Lin An were also defeated by him. Chapter 1636. It's him, it's him. Zhong Qishi lost to him. Thunderbolts came one after the other. Everyone's scalps went numb. Everyone present hadn't even managed to catch their breaths from the shock of Lei Kuan's death, when the voice that resounded from below the square once again set off monstrous waves in everyone's hearts. What? He's the super dark horse. In the eastern region. In the first round of the preliminaries, something extremely shocking had happened. Zhong Qishi, one of the 3 heavyweights of the Samsara sacred clan, had stopped in the first round of the preliminaries, and he was in a terrible state. Lin Nen of the Darkness Sacred Clan and Murong Yao of the Light Sacred Clan had also been eliminated. And who was the perpetrator? However, not many people saw his true face. They only saw his back from afar. Before this, everyone had guessed that the mysterious Dark Horse was Lei Kuan of the Thunder Sacred Clan. But now, Lei Kuan had been killed in front of everyone. Then, the crowd exclaimed, reminding everyone of the mysterious person who had defeated Zhong Qishi. It's him? There was an uproar below the stage. Everyone looked at the young figure standing proudly in the void with an indescribable solemnity. Are you sure? Someone asked doubtfully. It's definitely him. The back surrounded by purple energy can't be wrong. Whoosh! The earth-shattering noise was like an uncontrollable tsunami that covered the sky and earth. Someone had said that if he saw that person's back again, he would definitely be able to recognize him. It was like a foreshadowing of what was to come. At this moment, the identity of the mysterious Dark Horse was revealed. It was very unexpected, but it seemed to be reasonable. All the monstrous geniuses had surfaced. If it was before, most people would not believe it. But now, Chu Hen's appearance was earth-shattering and heaven-shaking. It's him. Lu Yuji of the Samsara Sacred Clan had a frosty expression, and her eyes were filled with coldness. Yu Shinin, who was next to her, finally changed his previous nonchalance. The laziness on his face was gradually replaced by some seriousness. Of course, it was just a little solemn. In comparison, Sun Yuan of the Antiquity Holy Tribe and Mo Nanquan of the Devouring Holy Tribe were much more vigilant. Chu Hen, Chen Jingfeng of the Sacred Star Clan nodded meaningfully. Remember this name. Yan Hanyu of the Burning Heaven Saint Clan secretly shook his head. He subconsciously glanced at Bai Qianyu, who was in the Divine Eye Sacred Clan's area. As expected, the piercingly cold aura was like the wind and rain. Chu Hen stood proudly in the sky above the arena, displaying his extraordinary power of dominating the entire arena. Shangguan Wuzi, the lord of the Spirit House Peak, had a strange expression on his face. After all, he was the one who allowed the Lightning Emperor to ascend to the Emperor's throne platform. He had thought that the Thunder Sacred Clan would be able to overthrow the Demon Eye Sacred Clan and replace them. Who would have thought that at the last moment, Chu Hen would appear and slap Lei Kuan's face, the Lightning Emperor's face, and also Shangguan Wuzi's face. Ahem. Shangguan Wuzi pretended to cough twice, looking slightly uncomfortable. He then announced in a low voice, "The winner of this round is the Demon Eye Sacred Clan, Chu Hen, the Demon Eye Sacred Clan." These 4 words, in the ears of the crowd, had different feelings. As for Chu Hen, the shock and impact that these 2 words brought to people was exactly the same. In this battle, apart from Lei Kuan who asked for his name, everyone present remembered the 2 words, Chu Hen, as well as his demonic purple eyes that were like those of an ancient demon god. The Demon Eye Sacred Clan's Chu Hen has 3 points. Does anyone choose to challenge the arena? Shangguan Wuzi asked. In the first battle, Lei Kuan defeated Xia Guang, and then defeated Li Kuan, holding a total of 2 points. After killing Lei Kuan, Chu Hen obtained his own point as well as his opponent's point. Of course, this didn't seem to matter, because the crowd was silent. Lei Kuan's death had already scared many contestants out of their wits. They didn't even have the courage to stand up, let alone challenge the arena. The outcome? It was obvious. Shangguan Wuzi swept his cold gaze across the crowd and said, Congratulations to the Demon Eye Sacred Clan for dominating the competition area and obtaining the direct qualification. The moment he finished speaking, the audience on the Demon Eye Sacred Clans and Mount Kunlia's side burst into the most exciting cheers. Even the people from Holy Abysmal Tribe were applauding. Amazing! The Demon Eye is still the Demon Eye after all. That's what I said. How can someone that Lady Mengxiang has her eyes on be an ordinary person? Very strong. He definitely has the strength to fight for the championship. With just a single battle, Chu Hen had caused everyone to have no choice but to re-evaluate him. Even Lu Dingyu's gaze towards Chu Hen changed slightly. Looks like I have to apologize for what I said before, Lu Dingyu muttered to herself. That's the fifth person to advance to the next round. There was a commotion in the audience. If nothing goes wrong, the dragon annihilation of the Dragon Bloodline Sacred Clan can take one more. Then, the remaining 4 quotas should be fought for using point. Lady Bai Qinyu has 6 points. It shouldn't be a problem. There are 3 more qualification quotas. 3 qualification quotas. Moreover, it was because Lu Tingyu, Chen Jingfeng, Yan Hanyu, and Yao Yong had been eliminated. One had to admit that the rules of the competition were really cruel. Those that had advanced to the next round were all geniuses of the 10 strongest sacred clans. I'm looking forward to the finals. Me too. The crowd, who had gradually calmed down, slowly regained their senses. Their gazes swept over the 2 monstrous geniuses, Yu Shinin and Mo Nanquan. The 2 of them had defeated opponents of the same level in just a few moves. Without a doubt, they had the appearance of being champions. Now, there was another Chu Hen. He killed the Thunder Kuan in 5 moves. His methods were ruthless like thunder. It was as if many variables had inadvertently appeared in the Sacred Race Conference this time around. Big brother Chu Hen, you're amazing. Just as Chu Hen returned to the spectator seats, Yi Yao said with incomparable admiration, "You're a little handsome. I'm almost falling in love with you." Qiao Shaowan also put on a love-struck expression. Chu Hen faintly smiled, but his mood was not too obviously relaxed. Mo Qingli looked at him meaningfully. She naturally understood what Chu Hen was thinking. Just defeating the Thunder Kuan wasn't enough to completely protect the name of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan. There were even stronger opponents waiting for Chu Hen. Chaos Sacred Clan. Chu Hen had destroyed the War God Palace. This grudge had already been formed long ago. Everyone already knew that he had beaten Zhongqishi, and the Samsara Sacred Clan would probably be watching. As for the Dragon Bloodline Sacred Clan, they weren't easy to deal with either. On the other hand, in the Divine Eye Saint Clan, Chu Hen's gaze subconsciously swept towards Bai Qinyu, who was on the opposite side of the huge peak. If he met her in the finals, what should he do? It would only get more and more difficult. "I'll go back first," Chu Hen said. "HM?" The crowd froze. Then they realized that he was probably going to Luo Mengqiang. "All right. You've already advanced, so there's no harm in leaving first," Long Qingyang replied. By now, the super geniuses of the strongest sacred clan had basically all gone on stage. They more or less understood their trump cards and method. Chu Hen didn't need to wait until the second round was over. Then, Chu Hen nodded at Long Zhan, Gong Yangyu, and the others, then glanced at the Demon Eye Sacred Clan's audience. Li Wushang, Rao Filwan, the 4th elder, and the others also looked over. Chu Hen slightly nodded his head, and left the noisy sky reaching balcony area alone. Inside a quiet room, after some rest, Luo Mengqiang's complexion was clearly much better. However, she was still a little mentally weak. "Aunt Yu," Luo Mengqiang called softly. "HM? Why don't you go to the competition area and take a look?" Gu Yu's beautiful eyes rippled. "What's there to worry about? It's the Demon Eye Sacred Clan's fate after all. Whether or not he can protect the clan doesn't depend on him alone." Luo Mengqiang clenched her jade-like hands, a trace of worry in her eyes. Gu Yu looked at the gradually darkening sky outside the window and said, All right, I reckon that the second round of the competition is about to end. Just wait here quietly for the results. Luo Mengchang sighed softly and did not insist. Oh right, Aunt Yu, I've always wanted to ask you a question. What is it this time? Do I look like my mother? Gu Yu was clearly stunned. Looking at the anticipation in Luo Mengchang's clear eyes, Gu Yu hesitated for a moment before shaking her head. You're more like your father. My father? Luo Mengchang's eyes lit up. Yes, your personality is very similar to him. You rarely think for yourself and always worry about others. As she spoke, Gu Yu turned around slightly and murmured softly, If you really want to talk about it, she's more like my mother. Although Gu Yu's voice was very soft, Luo Mengchang still heard it. Her? Which her? Luo Mengchang was puzzled. Gu Yu turned around and looked at Luo Mengchang's devastatingly beautiful face with a complicated expression. What's wrong, Aunt Yu? Who did you say is more like my mother? Luo Mengchang continued to ask. Gu Yu hesitated for a moment before her red lips parted slightly. That person is... Chapter 1637. What's wrong? Aunt Yu. Who did you say looks more like my mother? Hearing Luo Mengchang's question, Gu Yu hesitated for a moment before saying, That person is... Creak. Suddenly, at this moment, the half-closed door of the room was gently pushed open and a young figure walked in from the outside. Mengchang, are you feeling better? Chu Hen's voice immediately interrupted the conversation between the two. You're back? Luo Mengchang's beautiful eyes lit up and she sat up from the bed. Did you get the promotion quota? Yes, Chu Hen was about to answer but was immediately stunned. He saw a beautiful woman with fair skin sitting beside Luo Mengchang's bed. Aunt Yu? Chu Hen asked a little astonishingly. Gu Yu immediately reacted and did not have the time to pull back the black robe that covered her face. This was the first time she revealed her true appearance in front of Chu Hen, so Gu Yu actually felt a little unnatural. On the contrary, Luo Mengchang smiled disapprovingly. That's right. Were you shocked by Aunt Yu's beauty? I was shocked at that time. Chu Hen smiled. Yes, I was a little surprised. Gu Yu glared at Luo Mengchang angrily and said, You guys chat, I'll go out first. After saying that, Gu Yu directly stood up and walked out of the room. Chu Hen looked at Luo Mengchang apologetically. I seem to have made her angry? If I knew, I would have knocked on the door. That's right. You're in big trouble. Luo Mengchang pretended to be serious. Chu Hen did not understand. Let me tell you, Aunt Serenity has sworn that the first man who sees her face will either marry her or commit suicide. Make your choice. It can't be? Chu Hen immediately jumped in fright and stared at the other party with his eyes wide open. It's true, Aunt Yu will probably come back to kill you later. Me? Chu Hen was even more speechless. Looking at Chu Hen's dumbfounded expression, Luo Mengchang burst into laughter, her beautiful eyes full of mischief. Chu Hen couldn't help but realize that he had fallen into the other's trap. Are you lying to me? Haha, little fool. Luo Mengchang covered her face with her hands and chuckled. You actually believe this? Chu Hen casually wiped a few drops of cold sweat off his forehead. You almost scared me to death. As he spoke, Chu Hen sat on the edge of the bed. The corners of Luo Mengchang's mouth curled up, and she was a little mischievous. You're too stupid. How could no one have seen Aunt Yu's face after so many years? But didn't she always wear a mask? That's because she was protecting me in secret all these years to avoid exposing her whereabouts, and then she got used to it, Luo Mengchang explained. Chu Hen heaved a sigh of relief. I see. What do you think? Did you advance? Chu Hen nodded. I got the 5th place. That's great. Luo Mengchang clapped her small hands, feeling happy from the bottom of her heart. After a pause, she asked again, What about that sister? Did she advance? The other party was naturally referring to Bai Qianyu. A strange look flashed in Chu Hen's eyes. If there are no accidents, she will also advance. Luo Mengchang nodded slightly. It seemed that Bai Qinyu had called a truce with 6 points, and the result would only be determined after the end of the second round. If that was the case, in the later rounds, there was still a chance that Chu Hen would meet Bai Qinyu. Perhaps seeing Chu Hen's worry, Luo Mengchang couldn't help but hold his arm and gently lean on Chu Hen's shoulder. Feeling the faint fragrance of Luo Mengchang's body, Chu Hen could not help but smile gently. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Not yet. It's already a lot better. Luo Mengchang leaned against Chu Hen, her beautiful eyes lightly closed, feeling the familiar and warm aura coming from his body. At this moment it was as if he was her everything, her entire world. Why are you so clingy today? Chu Hen said with a smile. Luo Mengchang did not answer. She held Chu Hen's palm with both hands, and her slender white fingers interlocked with Chu Hen's fingers, quietly hugging Chu Hen's arm in her arms. Oui. Luo Mengchang said softly. What's wrong? Chu Hen raised his eyes. Luo Mengchang smiled like a pear flower blooming, but she just shook her head and did not speak, just leaning against Chu Hen. Time was peaceful, and the years were peaceful. Luo Mengchang seemed to have fallen asleep on Chu Hen's shoulder, her breathing was light and even. Chu Hen smiled helplessly and sat still, for fear of disturbing her. Outside the window, the sky gradually darkened. Soon it was evening. And at this moment, there was a messy sound of footsteps coming from the courtyard outside the door. Luo Mengchang, who was disturbed by the movement outside, woke up. She rubbed her slightly sleepy eyes. Are they back? Yes. Chu Hen nodded. It seems that the second round of the conference is over with that. Luo Mengchang let go of Chu Hen's arm, and Chu Hen also got up and moved his slightly stiff and numb limbs. I'll go out and take a look. Seeing that the people outside the door did not come in this direction, Chu Hen said to Luo Mengchang. Okay. Luo Mengchang smiled slightly. Then, Chu Hen walked out of the room and came out of the courtyard. Is the conference over? Looking at the crowd in front of him, Chu Hen stepped forward and asked loudly. Brother Chu Hen. Yi Yao called out softly. The others also subconsciously turned to look in this direction. However, the expressions of the crowd did not seem quite right. Including Long Xuanxuang, Qiu Xingyi, and Qiao Shaowan, they all looked gloomy and seemed to have a lot on their mind. What's wrong? What happened? Chu Hen quickly noticed that something was wrong with the crowd. The crowd just looked at each other, not knowing how to answer. Chu Hen frowned and swept his gaze across the crowd. Where's Big Brother? And where's Uncle Jean? Long Qingyang and Long Zhan were nowhere to be seen in the crowd. Feeling the seriousness in the silence, Chu Hen's heart faintly had a bad premonition. Tell me. Chu Hen's gaze fell on Mo Qingli. The latter's red eyes narrowed, and she immediately replied, Your big brother has fallen into the hands of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. What? Cold air immediately spread out, and Chu Hen's expression immediately darkened. What's going on? Brother Chu Hen, don't panic. Senior Li Wushang told you to stay here and wait for them. Yi Yao comforted. Chu Hen let out a sigh of relief. Tell me first. Yi Yao, Long Xuanxuang, and the rest looked at each other, and immediately told each other everything that had happened. After Chu Hen left the arena, the remaining people continued to fight for the remaining spots. Because Yan Hanyu, Chen Jingfeng, Lu Tingyu, and many other super monsters from the strongest sacred clan had been eliminated, Long Qingyang, who had originally thought that it would be better to just participate, began to think about fighting for a spot. After all, this was a rare opportunity. With his peak Great Saint King cultivation level, Long Qingyang won 4 consecutive battles and earned 4 points. Long Qingyang's momentum was strong. He won many cheers from the audience. But in the 5th battle, something unexpected happened. That guy called Long Mia went up against Big Brother Qingyang as an attacker. Yi Yao pursed her lips and said in a low voice. Chapter 1638. In the 5th round, the one called Dragonslayer faced off against Big Brother Qingyang as an attacker. After listening to their narration, Chu Hen's wrinkled eyebrows could not help but become even deeper. Dragonslayer, the super genius of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, the only contestant who hadn't fought yet. Big Brother didn't choose to call a truce? Long Qingyang had 4 points after winning 4 cities in a row. While it wasn't 100% chance of advancing, there was still a chance. Most importantly, Long Qingyang wasn't Dragonslayer's match at all. Long Qingyang was probably aware of this as well. Given his mature state of mind, there was no way he would stand out. Big Brother Qingyang wanted to call a truce, but Dragonslayer said something. Yi Yao said. What did he say? He said that as long as Big Brother Qingyang could withstand 1 or 2 of his moves, he would admit defeat. 1 move? Chu Hen froze for a moment. Anyone else would have thought that Dragonslayer's mockery was a fluke. As long as they could withstand 1 move, they would win. It was especially tempting for Long Qingyang, who had already obtained 4 points. Although there was only a difference of 1 point between 4 and 5, 1 point was enough to crush a bunch of people in the fight for the remaining spot. Big Brother couldn't withstand 1 move from Dragonslayer? Chu Hen asked tentatively. He did. Yi Yao confirmed. But that was Dragonslayer's scheme. Not only did he have to withstand 1 move, he also had to block half of his moves. 1 move and half. Dragonslayer had set up a trap for Long Qingyang. Long Qingyang had used all his strength to block the first move, but he didn't care about the second half. Although it was a trap, there was nothing he could do about it. That Dragonslayer used the second half to trap Big Brother Qingyang in the 9-dragon cauldron. As Yi Yao spoke, there was a hint of sobbing in her voice. Long Xuanshuang, Qiao Shaowan, and the rest were worried as well. It was the 9 dragons cauldron again. Hearing these 3 words, Chu Hen's face suddenly turned frosty. Long Qingyang had been locked up in the 9 dragons cauldron for several years and had barely managed to escape. Now that he was in there again, it was a feeling of despair. After understanding the gist of the matter, Chu Hen's eyes flashed with apprehension. He looked at everyone solemnly and said, "All of you stay here." "Where are you going?" Long Xuanshuang asked coldly. "Let's go too." "Stay here," Chu Hen said in a deep voice. Everyone was startled. Although Chu Hen's voice wasn't strict, it contained an irresistible majesty. Then, Chu Hen looked back at Luo Mengchang's room and said to Long Xuanshuang, "If Menchang asks, tell her I'll be back soon." After he finished speaking, he directly passed through the middle of the few people and hurried out of the courtyard. "Let's listen to Junior Brother Chu Hen. Even if we go, we won't be of much help and it will only get more chaotic," Qiu Xingyi said to calm everyone down. Immediately, everyone stopped talking and only hoped that this matter could be resolved peacefully. As soon as he stepped out of the courtyard, an elegant and refined figure followed behind Chu Hen. Chu Hen turned around and looked at the other party's ruby-like eyes. A trace of astonishment appeared between his brows. "I'll bring you there. That way you won't have to look around for a place," Mo Qingli said. Chu Hen hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Swoosh! Swoosh! Immediately, the 2 of them flew into the sky and turned into 2 beams of light, leaping into the dark sky. Evening had passed and the night was getting darker. The sky above the spiritual abyssal peak was gradually filled with specks of starlight. Just outside the corner of the courtyard, in an inconspicuous place, a pair of faint rippling peach blossom eyes looked at the 2 figures disappearing into the night sky. However, just as she was about to leave, her beautiful eyes turned and saw a woman in a black robe standing a few dozen meters away. Looking at the almost indistinct figure in the night sky, Bai Qianyu's eyes showed a trace of doubt. "Have we met before? Why do you say that?" the woman in black asked. "I feel that the aura on your body is very familiar," Bai Qianyu replied and continued to ask, "Have we met before?" The other party did not answer this question. "Looking for him?" "No." Bai Qianyu's delicate brows slightly furrowed. "I didn't say which him. Your answer was too straightforward," the woman in black said. Bai Qianyu's jade-like hands clenched lightly and with a hint of coldness, she said, "Why are you looking for him? Do you think that I, Miss Bai Qianyu, am so lowly? Then what are you doing here? Is she all right?" Bai Qianyu hesitated for a moment before asking. "You actually care about her? You're too much. There's no such thing as caring. It's just that she hesitated for a moment when she used the last move on the field today. But you didn't go all out either, right? We're even now." "Alright." Bai Qianyu's delicate brows slightly raised, a touch of indifference appearing on her beautiful face. "Don't tell anyone that I've been here. Since you're asking me for help, can your tone be a little nicer? Then do as you wish." After saying that, the space where Bai Qianyu was at rippled like a reflection on the surface of the water, and she immediately disappeared on the spot. Watching Bai Qianyu leave, the woman under the black robe slightly smiled and shook her head. This innate Sundra attitude, it really is exactly the same. At night, the spiritual Empress Peak was also brightly lit, like a holy land that never sleeps. The giant mountain in the distance looked like the legendary sacred mountain under the dense rays of the sun. Coupled with the commencement of the Sacred Clan Conference, the huge spiritual Empress Peak was bustling with noise and excitement. At the peak of one mountain after another, all kinds of magnificent buildings shone brilliantly, especially dazzling. However, at this moment, Chu Hen was completely in no mood to admire the scenery below. Accompanied by Emo Qingli, the two quickly rushed to the resting area of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. "What do you want to say?" Chu Hen suddenly asked. Emo Qingli, who was beside him, hesitated for a moment, then said, "Just now, Miss Bai was outside, Miss Bai." Hearing the three words, Miss Bai, Chu Hen's eyes clearly moved. "I know, you know?" Emo Qingli was a little surprised. "Yes," Chu Hen affirmed. "Why didn't you see her? Even if the Divine Eye Sacred Clan did all those things back then, I can see that Miss Bai is sincere towards you. She didn't let you down. If it was anyone else, they definitely wouldn't say such things to Chu Hen." To Chu Hen, the three words, Bai Qianyu, were very sensitive. But Emo Qingli was different. Her relationship with Chu Hen was unusual. It could even be said that all these years, Chu Hen almost had no secrets in front of Emo Qingli. Chu Hen shook his head. "It's me who doesn't dare to see her. I'm afraid that if I see her, my heart will be in a mess." With that, Chu Hen didn't continue this topic. His eyes faintly surged with a hint of sharpness. "How much longer until we arrive?" Emo Qingli's eyes narrowed as she looked to the southeast of the mountain range. "After the two giant mountains in front, we'll reach the area where the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan is active." Humph. Chu Hen coldly snorted, and a hint of ruthlessness appeared on his sharp and distinct face. "Big brother, hang in there, I'm going." Chapter 1639. The Spirit Abyssal Peak was still brightly lit at night. Due to the Sacred Race Conference, the peaks of the Divine Mountain, which were originally hidden in the Spirit Pool, were now bustling with activity. Naturally, the topic of their conversation revolved around the apex competitions that had taken place during the day. "I really didn't expect this. Even geniuses like Qin Jingfeng and Yan Hanyu were stopped in the second round. How terrifying." "Yeah. There's also Lu Tingyu and Yao Yong. I thought they were going to compete in the finals. Haha, they're only unfortunate. Lei Kuan is the terrifying one. Don't even mention Thunder Kuan. Just thinking about what happened to him makes my scalp go numb and my back go cold." Same here. The second round of the conference ended. What happened in succession refreshed everyone's expectations. Yu Shunin of the Samsara Saint Clan was unimaginably powerful. Emo Nanquan of the Devour Saint Clan was also shocked. However, the one who shocked everyone the most was none other than the super dark horse that emerged from the down-and-out Demon Eye Saint Clan, Chu Hen. He became famous in one battle. He only used 5 moves. Every move was bloody. He killed the super genius of the Thunder Saint Clan, Lei Kuan, in an earth-shattering manner. Did you guys hear? Zhong Qishi has already been found. It was truly a tragic sight. His limbs were all gone. Lin An also lost his arms. Murong Yao of the Light Saint clan is slightly better. At least he has all 4 limbs. Is it really that Chu Hen? Is there a need to ask? Just look at Lei Koan's fate. Looks like I can't be wrong. This fellow's methods are a bit too ruthless. He tortured Zhong Qishi to such a state. Yu Shinin and Lu Yuji will definitely not let him off. There will be another good show to watch in the finals. Yu Shinin is really strong. The Samsara Saint clan was going to win the championship after defeating the Storm of 9 Cities. Chaos, Devour, God's Eye, Dragon's Blood, and Demonic Eye all wanted to compete. All the monstrous geniuses that had seized the positions to advance were like stars in the night sky, and they fought for their brilliance and revealed their sharpness. However, at this very moment, on the summit of a huge mountain in the southeast of the spiritual abyssal peak, within the courtyard, the scenery and environment were both superb. Greetings, Lone Star Guard of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan. Apologies for not going out to meet you, hee. There was no hint of politeness in his slightly mocking tone. Even though the other party referred to himself as a junior, he was sitting on a wide chair in the courtyard in an arrogant manner. This person was none other than the super genius of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, Dragon Destroyer. Behind him, the disciples of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan were also looking at the 3 figures standing in front of them playfully. Apart from Li Wushang and Long Zhan, Su Yorong also followed, feeling extremely worried. Her face was filled with worry and anxiety. Li Wushang took a few steps forward with a gentle look on his face. Just say it. How can I let him live? The relationship between the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan and the Demon Eye Sacred Clan wasn't that bad, but it definitely wasn't good either. Dragon Destroyer wasn't a good person either. Even if he begged, the other party wouldn't let him go. He might as well be more direct. Haha. Dragon Destroyer raised an eyebrow and replied frivolously, "That bastard stole my clan's dragon essence and injured my clansmen. Let him go? Are you joking?" Previously, because of the Sacred Clan Conference, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan hadn't made a move on Long Qingyang. But today, Dragon Destroyer found the opportunity to not only capture Long Qingyang, but also shut the mouths of the world, preventing the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan's act of sacrificing humans to the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. It was like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. There was no way Dragon Destroyer would let Long Qingyang go so easily. At this moment, Long Zhan also stepped forward. "You can take the dragon essence back, but please spare my son's life." Long Slayer lifted his eyelids slightly and turned his gaze to Long Zhan. He leaned against the wide chair and tapped his fingers on the armrest. "I've looked into your background." The mockery in Dragon Destroyer's eyes intensified. Long Zhan's face darkened. "Long Zhan, right? Your great-grandfather, Long Zhao, was one of the higher-ups of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. What a pity! He was proud and arrogant, and didn't know what was good for him. He offended the Dragon Blood Emperor, and his Purple Mansion Saint's soul was directly shattered, turning him into a cripple. After that, Long Zhao hid like a stray dog in a small border city of the 100 Kingdoms province, struggling at death's door, and ended his life. To be honest, your Long family still has a strand of our Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe's bloodline." Li Wushang and Su Yorong were shocked by Dragon Destroyer's words. Although Li Wushang had already guessed that Long Zhan's ancestors had split from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, he hadn't expected there to be so many reasons. But Long Zhan didn't care too much about it. "I don't know about my ancestors, but I do know that my Long family has lived in the 100 Nation States' Sacred Star Empire for hundreds of years." "Haha, then you should thank me for telling you this." Dragon Destroyer smiled playfully. "Also, let me tell you something else. The person who shattered your ancestors' Purple Mansion Saint soul was my great-grandfather. History is always shockingly similar, isn't it? Ha 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 ha. History was always shockingly similar. Long Jean's face turned pale when he heard Dragon Destroyer's words. Hundreds of years of enmity. It was as if he had gone through a cycle. Long Jean's body trembled slightly, and he said with difficulty, "Please, let my son go." Dragon Destroyer's lips twitched. "You shouldn't beg like this. You should be more sincere, shouldn't you?" Long Jean nodded slightly. Then, he waved his hand, waved his sleeves, and knelt in front of Dragon Destroyer. "Long Jean, please spare my son's life." "Uncle?" Su Yurong cried out in surprise. Not far away, Li Wuxiang also frowned, and his eyes flickered. As far as he knew, Long Jean could absolutely be called an iron-blooded man. He possessed an unyielding character that surpassed ordinary people. His pride came from within, from the depths of his bones and blood, and even more so from his soul. Even though Li Wuxiang's cultivation far surpassed Long Jean's, the aura they exuded was almost the same when they stood together. It must be said that it was more difficult to make such an iron-blooded man kneel than to kill him. 10 years ago, in the Sacred Star Dynasty, Long Jean had knelt once to save Chu Hen. 10 years later, Long Jean had also knelt for Long Qingyang. Especially since this person's ancestor had personally crippled the Long family's ancestor, Long Zhao's cultivation, causing him to live like an ant in the world and suffer great humiliation. Ha 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 ha. Long Annihilation laughed wantonly, and he was especially complacent. His body bent forward as he looked down at Long Jean, who was inferior to him. "It seems like that's not enough." "What? Not enough?" At that moment, even Li Wuxiang's eyes were surging with coldness. "I hope that you won't go too far." "What? Does the Lone Star Guard want to fight me?" According to the rules of the Sacred Clan Convention, if someone who isn't a participant attacks a participant, it will be a huge taboo. Who knows, the three of you might have to be punished today. Hee. Long Annihilation ridiculed Lin Li in a disapproving manner. Li Wuxiang's expression changed slightly. Indeed, given Li Wuxiang's status, he definitely couldn't attack Long Mia, especially during the Sacred Race Conference. That was a huge taboo. For example, during the day, anyone could tell that the Lightning Emperor wanted to kill Chu Hen. However, from start to finish, he could only suppress the anger in his heart. "What do you want me to do? Let my son go?" Long Jean said coldly. "It depends on my mood. If I'm satisfied, I might leave him half dead." Long Annihilation laughed mockingly. Back then, Long Zhao thought too highly of himself. That's why his cultivation was crippled. Although the one kneeling in front of me isn't Long Zhao himself, you're still his descendant. Why don't you kowtow to me a few times? Ha 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 ha. He laughed wantonly. The laughter of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan members pierced Long Jean's heart like a sharp knife. "Uncle, you can't." Su Yorong had learned about Long Jean's personality from Long Qingyang. This kind of humiliation was definitely worse than killing him. However, Long Jean laughed. His laughter was somewhat hoarse. "All right, as long as I can save my son's life, a few kowtows are nothing. I'll kowtow." Long Jean placed his palms on the ground and bent forward, his head slowly approaching the ground. The seemingly light movement was, in fact, as heavy as a mountain. Su Yorong was so anxious that tears streamed down her cheeks. She wanted nothing more than to pull Long Jean back, but there was nothing she could do. Li Wuxiang couldn't bear to watch any longer, so he turned around. Suddenly, when Long Jean's forehead was less than 10 centimeters away from the ground, a mighty chi wave suddenly swept across the ground. In the next instant, a soft force directly lifted Long Jean's knees and forcefully pulled him off the ground. Bang! In the next moment, the tiles on the ground of the courtyard were completely shattered. Along with a purple whirlpool that shot into the sky, a young figure emitting boundless killing intent appeared in front of everyone. Everyone's hearts jolted. "Chu Hen!" Su Yorong exclaimed. Li Wuxiang and Long Jean stood to the side. Chu Hen's eyes flashed with purple light, his entire body surging with murderous intent. He didn't bother to hide it at all. When the son was in trouble, the father begged for mercy. And when the father was insulted, the son wanted revenge. Chapter 1640. 1 second to remember. There's no pop-up window for free reading. Boom! A heavy explosion reverberated through the courtyard as a powerful purple whirlwind swept in all directions like a hurricane. The faces of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan members changed. "Who's there?" Chu Hen. Su Yorong couldn't help but cry out. Li Wushang and Long Zhan were also shocked. The slightly thin and slender figure exuded a piercingly cold aura. The pair of swaying purple pupils were like sharp swords as they swept straight towards the young man sitting on the wide chair in front of them. "It's you." Long Mia narrowed his eyes as a cold expression appeared on his face. The other Dragon Blood Sacred Clan members were also shocked. If it was before today, they definitely wouldn't have recognized the person in front of them. But after today's battle, his name was already embedded in everyone's hearts. "Let him out," Chu Hen said coldly. The formless and powerful aura caused the surrounding space to vibrate in a strange rhythm. Long Mia's face darkened as he sneered. "Are you ordering me?" "What else can I do?" Chu Hen directly gave his affirmation. "Domineering. And domineering." Interesting." Long Mia sneered and raised his eyebrows. "What do I get if I let him go?" ZZZT. Dazzling purple lightning flashed in Chu Hen's eyes. "The benefit is that when you meet me in the finals, I'll spare your life." Whoosh! "I'll spare your life." Every word was like a pearl that shook the heartstrings of everyone present. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan members couldn't help but look at each other, their faces palpitating. How arrogant! But after Chu Hen's terrifying method of piercing the lightning during the day, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan members were more or less fearful. Long Mia, however, laughed. "Ha ha ha ha, looks like you're getting carried away after defeating a Thunder Kuan. I'll count to 3 to consider." Chu Hen's cold eyes were like a ferocious beast ready to charge at any moment. This was an order. And a threat. Even if his opponent was one of the 10 strongest sacred clans, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, Chu Hen continued to give the other party the most straightforward threat and order. "Heh!" Dragon Slayer grinned and replied in a provocative manner, "I'll help you count to 3. Not a single one. Ignore 2. It went straight to 3. Crack! Just as the Dragon Slayer finished speaking, Chu Hen's left palm condensed in the air. In an instant, a beam of purple light shot out like a laser. Hiss! Like a ray of light, it lit up the dusky night sky and pierced through Long Mia's chest. Even the stone chair behind him was pierced through. Ha! The faces of those from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan darkened. Long Zhan and Su Yurong were also shocked. However, Li Wushang squinted his eyes. Long Mia, who was sitting on the stone chair, didn't have any change in expression. He didn't even show the slightest hint of pain. "It's an afterimage," Li Wushang said solemnly. As soon as he finished speaking, the dragon annihilation on the stone chair disappeared like an illusory bubble. Then, a majestic, monstrous aura shrouded everyone from above. Long Mia stood in the air, a dark metallic luster appearing in his cold eyes. "Heh, arrogant thing! Today you won't be able to return." Roar! A majestic and impassioned dragon roar shook the heavens. Long Mia spread his arms, and dazzling golden dragon shadows immediately poured out of his body. Dragon Elephant variant wave with a loud roar, a dozen or so majestic dragon shadows intertwined like dreamy shadow wings, tearing at Chu Hen below. In the process of moving, the ferocious dragon shadow quickly gathered into a ball of light element turbine. Thick shadow wings circled around them, and a terrifying power descended like a raging star. Chu Hen's eyes turned cold and he clenched his fist. Whoosh! The formless blade, flickering with purple lightning arcs, immediately appeared in his hand. "Retreat!" Li Wushang immediately said to Long Zhan and Su Yorong. Without any hesitation, the two retreated to the back. The other genius disciples of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan also hurriedly retreated. Sizzle, billions of lightning rays intertwined, and the formless blade in Chu Hen's hand exploded with brilliant light. The light swirling around the blade suddenly transformed into a terrifying shadow wing. Chu Hen's hand seemed to be holding a giant blade that could split the sky. He raised his arms, and the shadow blade slashed through the sky, landing solidly on the violent light ball. Hiss, the world shook and the sky trembled. A mighty tsunami storm immediately wreaked havoc. The hurricane-like shock waves mixed with thousands of rays of light were like exploding stars, illuminating the sky and cracking the earth. The huge mountain shook incessantly. Countless cracks immediately appeared on the mountain walls. The violent aftershocks directly caused the majestic buildings and palaces to collapse with a loud rumble. Whoosh, the resounding sword momentum was like a storm. The peerless sharpness that erupted from non-phase Emperor blade actually cut through the light source turbine, and then split the domain power released by Dragon Slayer like a hot knife through butter, all the way toward the ladder. Oomph! Dragon Destroyer's expression changed slightly. He raised a palm, and the veins on his sturdy arm bulged. The bulging veins were as eye-catching as a horned dragon. Splitting dragon claw. Along with the rapid sound of the air being torn apart, a solid dragon claw shadow appeared in the sky. The sharp dragon claws were like barbed blades, dragging out a series of sparks in the air, heavily smashing the oncoming sword radiance into pieces. Bang! Air waves surged and splashed wantonly. The fiery light rain that filled the sky was especially gorgeous. Dragon Destroyer stood in the air, looking down at Chu Hen below. Oomph, if you want to save that guy, let's see if you have the ability. 9 Dragon Cauldron. Dragon Destroyer roared. His palms were intertwined with a sharp, dazzling light as he reached down. Hum, in an instant, an extremely strong spatial rhythm spread out from Chu Hen's surroundings. Thousands of light spiral spiritual tattoos intertwined and flickered around Chu Hen. Countless vine-shaped patterns of divine light appeared on the ground. Swoosh! In the next second, a crimson firestorm, like underground magma, revolved rapidly around Chu Hen. The wind and clouds changed, and the hot airflow swept the rivers and mountains in all directions. Roar! Roar! Following that, 9 berserk and furious thousands of feet-long dragon silhouettes appeared from all directions around Chu Hen. They were like ancient ferocious beasts as they surrounded Chu Hen in the middle. Chu Hen, be careful. Qingyang fell into this move. Su Yorong reminded anxiously. The 9 dragon shadows were like the beasts that sealed the gods and demons. Immediately after, a huge illusion of a cauldron appeared above Chu Hen's head. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on him. At the bottom of the cauldron, there was a hole that looked like a devouring hole. A huge suction force was dragging Chu Hen's body. Chu Hen's eyes flashed coldly. Heh! Dragon Destroyer sneered arrogantly. Since you said you would spare my life, I'm very grateful for that. Now I'll give you a chance to save him. A scheme. It was obvious. Don't fall for it, Long Zhan shouted. Long Qingyang was already in danger, and he didn't want to see Chu Hen fall into a trap. Then, the huge cauldron flowed with runes that looked like magma. Monstrous flames gathered outside the cauldron and roasted it. What was even more shocking was that there were painful screams coming from inside the cauldron. Qingyang? Su Yorong's face turned pale. Dragon Destroyer laughed proudly. Once the 9 Dragon Cauldron is activated, the person inside will turn to ashes in an instant. But that guy swallowed the dragon essence, so he can last for 5 more seconds. Long Zhan, Li Wushang, and Su Yorong's expressions changed again. Should they save him or not? Especially when they knew it was a trap. Don't, however, before Long Zhan could finish his words, Chu Hen did not hesitate in the slightest. His figure flashed as he turned into a ray of light and entered the hole at the bottom of the 9 Dragon Cauldron. Happy Mother's Day! Congratulations to the mothers of all readers and those who are already mothers. May everything go well. Chapter 1641. What's that? The Nine-Dragon Cauldron? What's going on? I'm not too sure. It seems like Long Mia is fighting with someone. What? Who dares to be so bold? At the same time, the huge commotion that came from the dragon-blooded sacred clan's territory had attracted the attention of others nearby. At the peak of the majestic mountain, the 9 huge dragon silhouettes looked like ferocious beasts that had been summoned from ancient times. From afar, they looked like 9 pillars that supported the sky. It was especially majestic and domineering. The ancient cauldron that was like a mountain was covered in blazing light runes, and there was a black hole at the bottom. "Henner, you can't!" Long Jean cried out in alarm. One of his sons was already in danger, and he couldn't watch his other son fall into Long Mia's trap. However, not waiting for Long Jean to finish speaking, Chu Hen's figure directly shot forward. Drawing a purple-colored afterimage in the sky, he entered the 9-dragon cauldron without the slightest bit of hesitation. Buzz! The moment Chu Hen entered the 9-dragon cauldron, the hole at the bottom instantly closed. Ha 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 ha! What a fool! Long Mia laughed in disdain. Stay in there for the rest of your life. Finishing his words, Long Mia joined his palms together and his metallic pupils flickered with a sharp light. 9-dragon soul suppression seal. Roar. Roar. In an instant, the 9 fierce dragon silhouettes that appeared in the sky let out a long roar. Then, under Long Mia's control, the 9 dragon silhouettes dived towards the huge cauldron. The huge cauldron erupted with scarlet flames, and the 9 dragon silhouettes were like light vortexes that entered their lair at an extremely fast speed. Whoosh! An intense tremor spread out in all directions as the 9 dragon silhouettes turned into streaks of light and entered the cauldron. Whoosh! A circle of mighty light waves spread out in all directions, and 9 vivid and lifelike dragon soul patterns appeared on the surface of the dark cauldron. At the same time, the blazing flames that filled the heavens and earth rapidly retracted. The 9-dragon cauldron was like an extremely powerful seal as it steadily floated in the air. Looking at this scene, the heart of Long Jean and Su Yorong suddenly sunk to the bottom. Li Wushang frowned deeply. Was that Chu Hen just now? The scattered people sitting in the dark in the distance were somewhat surprised. I think so. It's over. He is sealed in the 9-dragon cauldron by the power of the dragon soul. There is no way he can get out. Long Annihilation of the Dragonblood Sacred Clan stood in the air, looking down at Long Jean and Li Wushang with disdain. Humph! He sneered. Then, he raised his palm again and retrieved the 9 dragons cauldron floating in the air. Looking at the rapidly shrinking cauldron, Su Yorong's face was ashen. She hurriedly looked at Li Wushang. Senior, please save them, Li Wushang frowned, and purple light flickered in his eyes. Even though he was not allowed to interfere in any matters of the Sacred Race Convention given his status, he could not be bothered with that much. However, at this moment, something unexpected happened. The interior of the 9 dragons cauldron actually emitted an extremely strong energy fluctuation. What was going on? Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Long Annihilation's brows also furrowed. He immediately sped up the speed of retrieving the 9 dragons cauldron. However, when the 9 dragons cauldron was less than 10 meters away from returning to Long Annihilation's hand, the 9 dragon shadows on the cauldron glowed with an uneasy rhythm. Then, the stable body of the cauldron began to shake violently. Buzz! Suddenly, something unexpected happened. In the sky in front of Long Annihilation, a dreamy ripple appeared in the space. Rings of ripples slowly spread out. Then, like the reflection of water that had been crushed, it gathered and healed. 2 figures suddenly appeared from the distorted space. This is? Everyone who witnessed this scene was astonished. The people from the Dragonblood Sacred Clan were even more shocked. How is this possible? That technique is? Mo Qingli, who had rushed over, was also clearly stunned. Qingyang, Chu Hen. Su Yorong was extremely surprised. Long Zhan and Li Wushang's eyes flickered with emotions. In the sky, Chu Hen, whose body was flickering with purple lightning, held Long Qingyang's arm. The latter's face was pale, and there were many burn marks on his body. He looked extremely weak. They actually managed to escape? Long Annihilation was shocked, doubtful, and angry. What exactly is going on? He vaguely felt that the technique just now was a little familiar. Apart from shock and anger, Long Annihilation didn't want to think about anything else. He had to kill the person in front of him. Humph, no matter what you're capable of today, I'll make sure that you won't be able to return. A cold wind blew, and air waves surged into the sky. In an instant, a surging and raging dragon soul aura erupted from Long Annihilation's body like an uncontrollable primordial tsunami. Roar! He let out a deafening roar from his throat. Then, Dragon Annihilation's already burly body started to twist in an extremely strange manner. His bones seemed to have been dislocated. His metallic pupils became vertical like a crocodile's, and dense scales grew all over his body. His head, body, and limbs became longer. Divine Blood Dragon Transformation, Long Annihilation shouted. Boom! A terrifying and ferocious aura spread in all directions. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Long Annihilation immediately turned into a colossus that was thousands of feet tall. His sharp dragon claws were like curved claws, and his dark red scales were dense and shiny. A pair of crimson dragon wings spread out, instantly setting off a scorching heat wave. Disappear! Long Annihilation, who had transformed into a dragon, roared furiously. Then, he opened his mouth, which was filled with long, sharp teeth, and spat out a ball of red magma jade ball. The magma jade ball, which was the size of a house, was like a terrifying burning cloud that traversed the sky. Wherever it went, space would be burned and it would be destroyed. Long Qingyang felt the enormous power contained in the opponent's attack. Chu Hen's expression changed slightly, and he immediately pushed out a soft palm force that pushed Long Qingyang towards Long Zhan and the others. Li Wushang hurriedly caught Long Qingyang in his arms. Qingyang! Su Yorong and Long Zhan also hurriedly surrounded him. At the same time, the ball of magma jade ball emitting terrifying berserk power had already arrived in front of Chu Hen. It was unavoidable! Chu Hen's eyes narrowed, and 8 black dots appeared in the depths of his demonic purple pupils. Screech, sharp air waves trembled and overlapped. Together with the 8 black dots in the depths of his pupils, they rapidly rotated. One after another, purple beams of light rapidly interweaved around Chu Hen's body like a rotating hurricane. Whoosh! An extraordinary fiend god aura swept out in all directions, and a giant demon spirit that looked like a demon god immediately shielded Chu Hen. Then, the Nirvana demon spirit crossed its arms in front of its body and forcefully blocked the magma ball jade that was about to explode towards it. Bang! Sparks exploded, and heat waves soared into the sky. An endless rain of magma jade balls flew into the sky, lighting up the night sky and illuminating the surrounding mountains and valleys. The earth-shattering shockwaves swept all the way out, and many buildings on the giant peak below collapsed with a loud rumble. A tremendous force came crashing down. The Nirvana demon spirit that was shielding Chu Hen was pushed back hundreds of meters by the terrifying force. However, the moment it blocked Long Annihilation's attack, a powerful force pulsed in the demon godlike eyes of the Nirvana demon spirit. In the next second, a cold air current attacked Long Annihilation, who had transformed into a dragon. As the space twisted and trembled, a ball of purple flames stacked up like a tsunami, instantly drowning Long Annihilation's huge body. The holy demon flame of desolation was like a venom that quickly wrapped around Long Annihilation's body. In the blink of an eye, Long Annihilation turned into a ferocious purple, fire dragon. However, Long Annihilation did not seem to care. Not only did he not panic, he even mocked, "You're too naive. I also have a level 8 dragon blood holy body. You can't even break my dragon scales with your mere holy demon flame of desolation, level 8 dragon blood, 8-star demon eyes. The strength of the bloodline boundary of the same level. Even though the holy demon flame of desolation was extremely lethal, the dragon scales armor could be said to be a super defense among the 10 strongest sacred clans. Back in Mang City, Chu Hen had fought with the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan's guard captain, Wu Hui. At that time, he had relied on the power of Desolates of the Sun Luo power to weaken his opponent's dragon scales. However, the portion of Power of Desolates that Chu Hen controlled was naturally unable to cause any damage to the level 8 Dragon Blood Sacred Clan's long annihilation. Only the bloodline boundary of the sacred clan of the Great Wilderness could have any effect. Looking from afar, Long Annihilation was bathed in flames, and his aura did not weaken at all. However, just as his opponent finished speaking, Chu Hen, who was hiding in the Nirvana demon spirit, moved and landed firmly on the demon spirit's shoulder. Following that, deep in Chu Hen's eyes, there was an aura that was completely different from the demon eye's aura. In the depths of those bewitching purple eyes, a wisp of holy golden radiance quietly flashed. Whoosh! Following that, with Long Annihilation as the center, a golden flaming storm appeared in the surrounding air in an extremely strange state. This is... Li Wushang, who was outside the battle, had a drastic change in expression. A few words that corresponded to the holy demon flame of desolation suddenly appeared in his mind. Empyrean Heaven Soul Fire. Chapter 1642. Roar! A golden flaming storm suddenly erupted around Long Annihilation, who was enveloped by the purple sacred demon flame. It was out of everyone's expectations. Even Long Annihilation, who had transformed into a dragon, was caught off guard. This is? Without any time to think, the golden flames instantly wrapped around Long Annihilation's body and intertwined with the purple demonic flame. 2 domineering flames of different colors, one gold and one purple, overlapped with each other, and there were also violent and restless lightning pillars mixed within. Roar! Long Annihilation, who was complacent and disdainful just a moment ago, was clearly much more manic now. He wriggled his huge dragon body and danced in the sky like a fire dragon, struggling wantonly. That's... In the distance, the scattered crowd that was attracted here looked at Long Annihilation, who was entangled by 2 different colors, in shock. Could that be the Emperor blazing heavenly soul fire? You really dare to say that? Those are demon eyes, not divine eyes. How could it be the Emperor blazing heavenly soul fire? Look carefully. It's exactly the same as the power that Miss Bai Qinyu controlled today. It's just your imagination. Absolutely, absolutely impossible. It can't be the Emperor blazing heavenly soul fire. How can someone with a pair of demon eyes use the power of the divine eyes? Do you believe it? No one will believe it. The purple demonic flame was the main one, and the golden flame was the support. The storm that emitted endless destructive power became more and more intense. In an instant, it devoured Long Annihilation's body. No matter how Long Annihilation struggled, the 2 domineering flames were still attached to his body, constantly roasting his dragon scale armor. The dark red dragon scales on its surface were actually distorted by the heat. Roar! All of a sudden, a violent aura of the 9 dragons erupted from Long Annihilation's body. The purplish gold flames that were attached to his body were pushed back a little. He charged out of the blazing storm like a peerless ferocious beast and opened his ferocious mouth once again. "Little bastard, I'll take your life." His furious words were filled with deep hatred. Dragon Annihilation must have felt extremely uncomfortable being roasted by the 2 terrifying flames. Buzz! Countless streams of dragon soul power rapidly converged in the mouth of the giant dragon like a stream of magma. Die! Dragon Annihilation roared. Whoosh! Xiao! Accompanied by a series of distorted and shaking space, more than a dozen huge crimson magma balls were spat out of the Dragon Slayer's mouth. Wave after wave of scorching and vigorous air was dragged out from the void. Many magma ball jade were like terrifying red meteorites rubbing against the atmosphere. It was sudden and menacing. Chu Hen outside the battlefield, Su Yurong, Long Zhan, Li Wushang, and Mo Qing Li all had solemn expressions. Those who possessed the dragon blood sacred body not only had terrifying defensive abilities, but they also had explosive power. At this moment, he couldn't treat Dragon Destroyer as a human anymore. The other party was truly a giant dragon. An incomparably furious and terrifying attack was rapidly advancing in this direction. The piercingly cold wind waves could be said to topple mountains and overturn seas. A cold light flashed in Chu Hen's eyes. With a thought, the Nirvanic demon spirit beneath him charged towards the dozen balls of magma. What is he doing? Even an 8-star demonic Nirvanic demon spirit can't withstand so much damage, right? He's too careless. The spectators in the distance were shocked. At this moment, Chu Hen, who was on the Nirvanic demon spirit's shoulder, leaped into the air and retreated. In the next moment, the numerous magma ball jade continuously struck the Nirvanic demon spirit's huge armored body. Bang! Boom! An incomparably violent and heavy explosion immediately exploded in the sky. One after another, mighty and chaotic shock waves exploded like dazzling sparks. Boiling hot magma flowed wantonly into the sky, like a violent torrent that broke through a dam, sweeping in all directions. Layers of mountain peaks were razed to the ground by the violent shock wave. Below, the residence of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was in a state of devastation. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, the Nirvanic demon spirit, which was like an ancient demon god, was directly engulfed by the successive meteorite strikes. Waves of air surged into the sky like a storm. "I'd like to see what else you can do." Dragon Annihilation, who was exuding boundless ferocity, roared. Above his head, dark clouds surged and storms gathered. It was extremely majestic. What a powerful aura! The spectators in the distance all shook their heads and sighed. As expected of the strongest genius of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, Dragon Annihilation's strength was not something the Thunder Koan of the Thunder Sacred Clan could compare to. However, in the next second, a sharp sword aura that swept through the surroundings suddenly shrouded them. The hearts of everyone present couldn't help but be startled. Rumble! Chu Hen stood proudly in the sky above Dragon Annihilation. The chaotic sword aura storm condensed into a 1,000-meter-tall Azura figure behind him. Brilliant blue light flickered, and a chilling aura spread in all directions. This is? Li Wushang, Long Zhan, and the rest of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan all paled. Chu Hen's expression was indifferent as he waved the formless Tharch blade in his hand. The giant Azura figure behind him also waved the Sky Pillar's giant sword. Along with the eruption of blue light that gathered on the giant sword, countless destructive light rays attacked the Dragon Annihilation in front of them. Consecutive, infinite sword. Whoosh! Tens of thousands of Aurora sword runes lingered like shadow wings as the Azura shadow slashed down from the sky, sweeping up a terrifying force as it pierced towards Long Annihilation's massive body that was emitting a ferocious aura. Boom! Like a lightning sword piercing through the sky, the terrifying sword pillar's momentum could suppress mountains and rivers. Dragon Annihilation's ferocious vertical pupils rapidly reflected the dazzling light. Accompanied by a furious storm, a circle of blue sword waves surged into the sky. Dragon Annihilation seemed to have been hit by a huge force, and the scales on his back exploded into pieces. A string of blood danced in the air as he fell straight down. Everyone was shocked. What a sharp sword move! But it's still not enough. Dragon Annihilation's defense is too strong. Look, only a small portion of his scales have shattered. Although this sword contained the power to destroy the heavens, it didn't hurt Dragon Annihilation at all. However, just as Dragon Annihilation was about to smash into the giant peak below, a flash of lightning flashed in the air. A phantom flashed, and a floating light swept past. Chu-Hen had actually appeared below Dragon Annihilation first. What a fast speed! Everyone was stunned again. Chu-Hen, who had flashed below Dragon Annihilation, had a strange blue light flickering in his eyes. In his right palm, a ball of blue light elemental energy jade ball was rapidly condensing. Second, boundless good fortune. Bang! With a loud bang, the ground of the giant peak below sunk rapidly, and thousands of rocks instantly turned into powder. There was no time to react at all. With Chu-Hen and Dragon Annihilation as the center, a ball of blue light waves was like a dazzling divine halo that exploded like a star. The space where the two of them were immediately distorted and torn apart, and an extremely terrifying pressure and tearing force impacted Dragon Annihilation. Roar, along with a furious roar, broken scales splattered wantonly. The dark red dragon scales on Dragon Annihilation's huge body were distorted and cracked to the extreme. Bang! As blood splattered, the dragon scales on the 10,000-meter-tall dragon body cracked one after another, and the flesh shrank at a visible speed. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Dragon Annihilation was quickly beaten back to his original form. The dragon soul energy was directly suppressed and crushed. Moreover, the violent impact caused Dragon Annihilation to be thrown into the sky in the opposite direction again. Dragon Annihilation, who had returned to his human form, was shocked and furious, and his eyes were almost spitting fire. "Humph, don't think that you've won just like that." After saying that, an even more surging dragon soul energy erupted, and Dragon Annihilation's body was once again shrouded by a magma storm-like scarlet light. However, at the same time, beams of resplendent blue light that rushed into the heavenly river bloomed in all directions. There seemed to be an ancient deity singing softly in the 9 heavens and earth. In the next instant, 2 giant stone statues that were flickering with tens of thousands of mysterious ancient runes appeared on Dragon Annihilation's left and right side. From the left and right of the stone statues, they stretched out their godlike hands that covered the sky and attacked Dragon Annihilation from both sides. A cold glint flashed in Chu-Hen's eyes, and he shouted coldly, "Consecutive creation. Palm of creation." Chapter 1643. Triple. Palm of creation. It was as if a deity was chanting, and the raging airflow gathered like a storm. The towering stone statue was like an ancient god of war stretching out his arm to attack. The huge hand covered the sky, and its aura could destroy the stars and split the sky, destroying mountains and rivers. Boom! The terrifying palm aura rapidly pushed forward from the left and right, as if it originated from an ancient fiend god sealing technique. The powerful dragon soul aura outside Dragon Annihilation's body was continuously crushed, and the terrifying giant palms that attacked were like 2 mountains merging together. Mighty and vigorous chi waves immediately spread out in all directions in the void. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Dragon Destroyer was directly closed by the giant hands. Triple creation. The infinite sword started as an attack. The infinite creation broke through the armor. Then, it ended with the palm of creation sealing. The entire skills connection was just right. It was done in one go. It could be said to be perfect. However, no one had the time to recover from the shock. Chu-Hen's purple pupils, which were emitting a demonic aura, once again released a shockingly powerful energy fluctuation. 8-star demon eyes, lifeblade. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, beams of purple light suddenly appeared in the sky. Every beam of light was like a sharp thorn, flickering with dazzling light. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the enormous purple spike that flowed with gorgeous light swirled with a myriad of dense killing intent, and it attacked the joint attack of the palm of creation from all directions with the momentum of returning to its origin. Hiss! Whoosh! The sound of a series of sharp weapons tearing through the airflow stung everyone's eardrums. Under the shocked gazes of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan and the spectators in the dark, the purple light thorns directly pierced through the 2 giant palms. It was a mess. It went diagonally up and down. Countless purple light thorns pierced through the left and right of the palms like long nails. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Then, a dazzling light suddenly erupted from the center of the giant palms. Bang! Hurricanes piled up and blended with each other. Chaotic rays of light blossomed from within, and the demonic hand that covered the sky turned into hundreds of millions of light shadows that dissipated in all directions. A continuous rain of blood danced in the sky above, and a figure in a sorry state, whose entire body was pierced by purple light thorns, was on the verge of collapse. The faces of the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe turned pale with fright. Senior Brother Dragon Destroyer. The spectators couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Dragon Annihilation was covered in blood. The purple light piercing through his body made him look like a hedgehog. The scattered dragon's soul aura swayed wantonly, and it was difficult to gather. His trembling arms clenched into fists. The veins on his arms bulged, and his metallic eyes sharpened. Along with a furious roar, a dull explosion resounded. A vast ring of purple flames stacked up and spread out from his body, shattering the many light thorns that covered his body. But just when everyone thought that Long Mia still had the strength to fight again, a faint layer of frost quietly spread out behind Long Mia. A final struggle. When the indifferent voice entered their ears, there was a chill that seeped into their souls. Long Mia's heart trembled. As soon as he finished speaking, Chu Hen stretched out a single palm and his fingers turned into claws, directly grabbing the back of Long Mia's neck. Then, he burst forth with a powerful speed and plunged towards the courtyard below. Bang! The courtyard, which was already in a state of devastation, suddenly caved in, forming a huge crater. The rubble that was sent flying exploded like a swarm of locusts covering the sky and earth. Smoke and dust filled the air, dancing in the air. At this moment, the tall and mighty Dragon Destroyer was like a little chick that was firmly grasped in Chu Hen's palm. Chu Hen stood behind Long Mia. On the other hand, Long Mia was facing Long Zhan, Li Wushang, and the others. "You should have something to say to me, Uncle Zhan, right?" Chu Hen said lightly. Everyone was shocked. Long Zhan was also stunned. "Ha ha!" Long Mia's lips curled into a sinister sneer. "What do you want to say? Beg for his forgiveness? Ha 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 ha!" Bang! The heavy muffled sound once again shocked everyone's eardrums. Along with the dust on the ground, Long Mia's laughter came to an abrupt end and was replaced by a shrill scream. In an instant, everyone who witnessed this scene had a drastic change in their expressions. Chu Hen kicked Long Mia's kneecaps heavily. Long Mia's knees immediately knelt on the ground and his kneecaps were instantly smashed by the huge force. Dark red blood flowed down Long Mia's knees. Then, he knelt in front of Long Zhan in a lowly manner. His face was contorted by the intense pain. The loud and clear wail made everyone's heart tremble. When the son was in trouble, the father begged for mercy. When the father was humiliated, the son wanted revenge. Not long ago, Long Zhan was still kneeling in front of Long Mia, humiliated. And now, Long Mia's knees were broken by Chu Hen, forcing him to kneel back. This was the humiliation that Long Zhan had suffered. At this moment, Chu Hen was getting even with interest. Moreover, his methods were extremely ruthless, causing people to tremble in fear. Looking at Long Mia, whose kneecaps were broken, everyone felt their scalps go numb. Everyone from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was so shocked that their faces turned ashen. Looking at Chu Hen's cold back, no one dared to step forward to stop him. The scene of Lei Kun being killed in public during the day was still vivid in their minds. In the blink of an eye, even Long Mia had fallen in his hands. Everyone who witnessed this trembled secretly. Just how powerful was this dark horse that had slaughtered his way out of the genius forest? Dragon Annihilation let out a deep roar from his throat. His face, which was already covered in bloodstains, was now distorted and extremely hideous. Chu Hen's right hand's fingers were like hooks embedded in the back of Long Mia's neck. It seems like we won't meet again in the finals. Long Mie's expression changed drastically and his eyes were filled with fear. Don't. Long Zhan hurriedly stepped forward to stop him. Although Chu Hen had attacked Long Mie as a contestant, it had been in private and not at the competition. If he had killed Long Mie, there was no guarantee that the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan wouldn't take the opportunity to take revenge. Long Qingyang had already been saved. Moreover, the humiliation that Long Zhan had suffered had been repaid. There was no need to worsen the relationship between the two clans. After all, the Demon Eye Sacred Clan was no longer what it used to be. Li Wushang, who was supporting Long Qingyang, also looked at Chu Hen solemnly and shook his head. Because of the humiliation that the Sky Demon Eye Sacred Clan and Long Zhan had suffered, he could clearly sense that Chu Hen's hostility had intensified. This wasn't a good thing. Hearing Long Zhan's words, Chu Hen's cold gaze gradually softened. Then, he said plainly, I probably won't see you again tomorrow. Please forgive me. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan will stop here. Whoosh. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan would stop here. That was the most direct and heaviest blow. The instant Chu Hen let go of the dragon annihilation, the latter's entire body withered. Following that, his head fell forward, and his entire body fell down. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was already in a daze. No one had expected such an outcome. The impact that followed made it so that they didn't dare to go forward to help Dragon Destroyer. Chu Hen didn't even look at Long Mie as he followed Long Zhan back to Li Wushang and Su Yorong's side. Big brother, how is he? Chu Hen asked. Li Wushang shook his head. Don't worry. He's fine. Chu Hen heaved a sigh of relief. Let's go. Then, Chu Hen, Long Zhan, and the rest left with the unconscious Long Qingyang. The people who were watching the battle from afar in the dark also dispersed one after another while trembling in fear. It was located in a secluded and uninhabited mountain stream in the west. Bai Qianyu's pair of bright and beautiful peach blossom eyes looked at everything that had just happened in front of her with a slightly complicated expression. I was wondering why the eye's power had weakened so much back at the Sacred Wing Sky Flame Sparrow Clan. Emo Qingli had been forced by her father to take away one of Chu Hen's demon eyes. Bai Qianyu had then moved the White Thearka's eye to Chu Hen. Later, when Chu Hen had retrieved the demon eye and removed the White Thearka's eye, Bai Qianyu had noticed that the god's eye's power had decreased significantly. It was as if it had been stolen unknowingly. Due to the decrease in power, Bai Qianyu had followed Chu Hen's wishes and lent the god's eye to Emo Qingli to use. Later, Bai Qianyu had guessed that Chu Hen had absorbed a portion of the White Thearka's eye's power. Now that guess had been confirmed. The Chaos Clan's bloodline is really strong. Bai Qianyu muttered to herself. She hesitated for a while. Bai Qianyu turned to leave. However, at this moment, a beautiful figure with a cold and arrogant aura suddenly blocked Bai Qianyu's path. Humph, we meet again, Miss Bai. The frivolous voice was filled with mockery. Bai Qianyu raised her eyes, her beautiful face still calm. What's the matter? You've been with me for so long. Your Excellency Lu Yuji. What do you think? Lu Yuji sneered. With a flip of her hand, a sharp sword shadow immediately lit up the night sky. Calm. Miao Shu Wu. Chapter 1644. Bang! A brief and rapid shockwave of violent energy swept across the mountain stream. Rocks flew into the air, and the waterfall flowed backward. A strong tremor swept through the mountain stream, but everything returned to normal quickly. What's going on? What's happening over there? Everyone who had dispersed from the Sacred Dragon Clan's area of activity looked in another direction in bewilderment. It should be fine. Yeah, let's go. The Sacred Clan Conference is full of surprises. The commotion was too short, so no one paid much attention to it. In addition, everyone had yet to recover from the shock caused by the battle between Chu Hen and Dragon Destroyer, so no one wanted to go elsewhere to find out what was going on. On a cliff to the south of the mountain stream, Numerous rifts that were over a kilometer deep covered the surroundings of the stone wall like a large spider web that was spreading wantonly. At this moment, a slender and peerlessly beautiful figure had her back facing another person calmly. Lu Yuji, one of the 3 heavyweights of the Samsara sacred clan, was sitting on the ground powerlessly. She held onto her long sword, and her pale face was no longer as cold and arrogant as before. Lu Yuji stared at Bai Qianyu's back, her eyes filled with disbelief. "I've never thought of you as an opponent." Bai Qianyu tilted her body slightly. Her delicate side profile was beautiful under the soft golden light. She glanced sideways at Lu Yuji, who was behind her. "Let Yu Shinin come and find me. You can't even take one move from me. Can't even take one move from me." Her words were like needles. She didn't kill, but struck at the heart. Screech, then, Bai Qianyu's dazzling golden eyes exuded an extraordinary sacred aura, together with the supreme majesty of a monarch. Black dots of light quietly emerged from the depths of his pupils one after another. Looking at those golden eyes, Lu Yuji's pale face turned even more ashen. An unprecedented sense of defeat surged in her heart. "It's a pity that you can only go this far." Bai Qianyu's red lips parted slightly, then she turned around and walked away. Her figure gradually disappeared from Lu Yuji's sight. But the sense of defeat brought about by Bai Qianyu kept expanding. Like ripples on the surface of the water, it spread out infinitely. Jealousy. Because of her jealousy and hatred towards Bai Qianyu, she had come to find him. But the moment she drew her sword, she quietly understood the gap between her and Bai Qianyu. The fear that the pair of golden divine eyes gave her went deep into her soul. Lu Yuji didn't even have the strength to hold her sword. They're back. Brother Chu Hen and the others are back. In the quiet courtyard. Although it was already late, everyone was still waiting anxiously in the courtyard. Yi Yao, Long Xuanshuang, Qiao Shaowan, and the people of Mount Kunli hurriedly got up and went out to welcome them. When everyone saw Long Qingyang being supported by Long Zhan and Li Wushang, they were both surprised and nervous. "How is it? How is big brother Qingyang?" "It's nothing big, don't worry," Li Wushang said. "Hua!" Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. His heart, which had been hanging in suspense for the entire day, could finally be put down. "How did you guys manage to save him? Didn't the Dragonblood Sacred Clan make things difficult for you?" Qiao Shaowan asked casually. Long Zhan and Li Wushang didn't answer, their eyes filled with complicated emotions. "It's all thanks to Chu Hen. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't know what to do. That's what I said." "We should have told Brother Chu Hen before," Yi Yao said. Chu Hen only smiled when he received everyone's praises. "Sister-in-law, hurry up and help Big Brother into the room." Then, he turned to the others. "Everyone's been tired the whole day, go get some rest." "All right." Su Yorong nodded. The others agreed one after another. "You too, tomorrow is the finals. Rest well. Adjust your mentality and do your best." After exchanging a few simple words, everyone dispersed. Letting out a long sigh, Chu Hen swept his gaze around and saw Luo Mingshang standing at the door of the room. Their eyes met and they couldn't help but smile at each other. Then, Chu Hen walked toward her. "You haven't rested yet? How could I sleep without you coming back?" Luo Mingshang smiled faintly, but there was a hint of worry between her brows that hadn't faded yet. Chu Hen's fingers gently stroked a strand of hair on Luo Mingshang's cheek. "It's okay, it's not a big deal." "Well, it's good that you're fine." Luo Mingshang's eyes were like autumn water, rippling slightly. She held some kind of expectation in her heart. Then, she pulled Chu Hen back to the bed in the room. "I'll watch over you tonight, huh?" Chu Hen raised his eyebrows slightly, a little confused. "Tomorrow is the finals of the Sacred Clan Conference. You have to conserve your energy. Tonight, I'll watch over you as you sleep," Luo Mingshang said. Chu Hen was speechless. But seeing the other party's serious look, he could only nod. Okay, with that, Chu Hen lay down flat. Luo Mingshang moved a small chair and sat on the edge of the bed. She rested her chin on her hand and looked at him quietly. "You're really going to watch me sleep?" Chu Hen smiled. "Don't talk, just rest quietly." Okay. Immediately, Chu Hen closed his eyes, and his body and mind began to relax. After preparing for a while, Chu Hen's consciousness gradually became light and blank. It seemed that it had been a long time since he had slept so peacefully. Not long after, a light snoring sound came from Chu Hen's mouth and nose. For people at this level of cultivation, meditation replaced sleep, and there was no effect on whether they slept or not. However, deep sleep would help to relax the mind to a certain extent. Looking at Chu Hen's relaxed look, Luo Mingxiang's lips curled up slightly, and her eyes were filled with a gentle smile. "Regardless of the results of tomorrow's finals, it's enough as long as you don't get hurt." It was late at night, but it was still noisy inside and outside the spiritual Empress Peak. "Did you hear? Dragon Destroyer lost." "Are you dreaming? The finals haven't even started yet. Dragon Destroyer's opponent hasn't been confirmed yet. Why did he lose?" "It's true. Dragon Destroyer was completely defeated not long ago." "Who did it?" "Demon Eye Sacred Clan, Chu Hen." Chu Hen. This name, after shocking the Four Peaks during the day, caused another strong uproar at night. The news of the battle between Chu Hen and Dragon Destroyer before the finals spread like wildfire and quickly reached the ears of the various sacred clans. Linen, Murong Yao, Zhong Qishi, Lei Kuan, Dragon Destroyer. Haha, that Chu Hen really doesn't kill nameless people. Is he announcing the return of the king of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan? There might be changes in the Sacred Clan Conference. The stars moved and the winds and clouds surged. To countless people, this was definitely a sleepless night. The Reincarnation Sacred Clan had defeated the storms of the 9 cities, and was going to be the champion. The Devouring Sacred Clan had shocked the world with a single brilliant feat, and a strong dark horse had emerged. After the Star Sacred Clan, the Great Wilderness Sacred Clan, the Sky Burning Sacred Clan, the Abysmal Sacred Clan, and the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan had been eliminated one after another, could Chaos and God's Eye compete with them? And before this, the Demon Eye Sacred Clan, which was the least favored, seemed to be at the peak of the storm, at the edge of the cliff. Could they stop the Devouring Sacred Clan? Could they stop the sword of the king of the Reincarnation Sacred Clan, which was pointing towards the champion position? 10,000 years of wind and rain. Master of the Heavenly Emperor's Order? Finals. Revealed. Good night, everyone. Chapter 1645. After a night of hustle and bustle, the surroundings of the spiritual abyssal peak became a lot quieter shortly before dawn. However, it was like the calm before the storm. As the first ray of dawn broke through the thick clouds in the eastern sky, white cranes spread their wings and soared into the sky beside the waterfall that cascaded down from the valley. Primitive Sacred Clan, Devouring Sacred Clan, Divine Eye Sacred Clan, Reincarnation Sacred Clan, and other sacred clans quietly opened their eyes one after another. Battle songs and bugles were wafting in and out of Spirit Empress Peak. It was the day of the Sacred Clan Conference Finals. It was here. In a quiet and spacious room, Chu Hen, who had just woken up from his sleep, slowly opened his eyes. The first thing that came into view was Luo Mengchang's beautiful smiling face. "You're awake. How was your sleep?" Chu Hen's eyes were very bright. Compared to the deep and gloomy darkness of the past, he was clearly much more relaxed. "It's been a long time since I had such a good sleep. I can see that you were smiling the whole night. What good dreams did you have?" Luo Mengchang asked softly. Chu Hen squeezed his eyebrows, sat up, and replied with a smile. "It's a secret." Luo Mengchang raised her eyebrows and said with a hint of pride, "It's fine if you don't want to tell me, I also have a secret, is that so? What secret do you have?" "I'm not telling you." As soon as Luo Mengchang's voice fell, Chu Hen directly leaned his head forward and pressed his lips against Luo Mengchang's soft, jade-like lips. Ugh! Luo Mengchang did not react. She was momentarily shocked, but did not resist. She closed her eyes and quietly enjoyed this moment of warmth. After a while, Chu Hen raised his head slightly. Luo Mengchang's beautiful big eyes also opened. The two of them stared at each other from a close distance. Chu Hen said gently, "After the Sacred Clan Conference, I will marry you, huh?" Luo Mengchang was a little surprised, but also a little surprised. Then, the surprise was like a ripple on the surface of the water, spreading in circles and occupying her entire heart. Luo Mengchang's cheeks were blushing, and her faint smile was like a white pear blossom in full bloom. "That's what you said. Liars will have to swallow 1,000 needles." "Yes, I will." Chu Hen's eyes were filled with determination. "When that day comes, I will run at the fastest speed in my life and run to you with all my might. Then I will marry you. What's wrong?" Luo Mengchang's eyes were slightly wet. "It's so early in the morning, and you're making me want to cry. Alright, get up quickly. Today is the Sacred Race Convention's finals day." As she spoke, Luo Mengchang turned around and gently wiped a tear from the corner of her eye. Chu Hen smiled gently. After changing into another set of clothes, he said, "Today, you and Aunt Yu will stay here and wait for me. Why?" Luo Mengchang was puzzled. "I'm fine now. I can go to the competition venue to look after you, no need." Chu Hen rejected softly and held Luo Mengchang's hand. "Just wait for me. I will come back safely." Although she did not know why Chu Hen did not want her to come to the competition venue, Luo Mengchang still nodded obediently when she saw the concern in his eyes. "Alright, then I'll wait for you here. You must come back safe and sound without a single hair on your head." "Yes, definitely." Chu Hen nodded solemnly. Then, Chu Hen turned around and opened the door, walking outside. The morning breeze that originated from the mountain stream of the Spirit Elephant Peak blew against his face. Chu Hen raised his eyes and looked towards the azure sky. Today's weather was very good. Outside the courtyard, Li Wushang, Long Zhan, Yi Yao, Long Qingyang, who had already woken up, and the others were already waiting outside. Looking at Chu Hen, who walked out of the room, everyone cast a deep and solemn gaze at him. The day of the finals. For Chu Hen and the entire Demon Eye Sacred Clan, this was a very important day. He had only defeated Lei Kuan. It was far from enough. The real obstacle had just appeared. Chu Hen walked down the stairs and turned to look at Luo Mengchang, who was standing at the door. The latter smiled slightly. "Don't forget that I am waiting for you here." Chu Hen also smiled. "I remember it better than anything else." As he turned around, a gust of wind blew past him. Such warm weather. Such a cool breeze. By the time everything had settled down, Yi Zichen's expression changed. "I will run as fast as I can in my life through the long road, finally bumping into you." Chu Hen's eyes were filled with a touch of affection. He clenched his fists and said firmly, "I will protect you." It was close to noon. The Sacred Clan Conference Finals venue. Hua! Boom! An earth-shattering momentum rose to the sky. It was a bustling cauldron of voices, a magnificent sight to behold. The venue of the finals was located in a vast canyon. The area of the canyon was much wider than the Lingshao balcony venue yesterday. From a bird's-eye view, there were forests and water in the canyon. There were 2 long rivers on both sides, and there were high stands in the north and south. The surrounding areas were also equipped with extremely spacious seats for the audience. The surroundings of the canyon were already packed with people. It was a black mass like a gray wave. As the most prosperous and important ceremony in the human territory, it was the focus of the world, especially on the day of the finals. There are so many people. Of course, everyone is waiting for this day. This is so exciting. The Reincarnation Sacred Clan is only 1 crown away from obtaining the Heavenly Emperor token. Yeah. The Reincarnation Sacred Clan is really strong. The Devouring Sacred Clan is also very strong. If nothing goes wrong, I feel that the champion this time will be either the Devouring Sacred Clan or the Reincarnation Sacred Clan. Obviously, Everyone was looking forward to today's finals. At the same time, Chu Hen and the others also followed the flow and arrived at the Great Canyon competition area. The surrounding spectators cheered. When they saw Chu Hen and the others, there was a commotion in the crowd. Chu Hen from the Demon Eye Sacred Clan is here. What a strong aura! As the dark horse who defeated Zhong Qishi in the preliminary round and killed Lei Kuan in the Lingxiao balcony, Chu Hen's appearance instantly attracted the attention of countless people. The spectators from the Demon Eye Sacred Clan also cast expectant gazes at them. The fourth elder, Sirius Star Guard Rao Filwan, Li Kuan, and the others looked at Chu Hen differently. Especially Li Kuan, his expression was both complicated and emotional. He had already heard about what happened yesterday from the people around him. When he failed to protect the dignity of the Demon Eye Holy Clan, Chu Hen stepped forward bravely and defended the name of the Demon Eye in an earth-shattering manner. Even though there were some conflicts between the two, Li Kuan's respect for Chu Hen was real. The sect master is here, Qiu Xingyi suddenly said. Oh! Chu Hen and the rest were startled and looked towards the direction that the other party was pointing at. They saw the martial sect's sect leader, Dongfang Hengji, the Spirit Phoenix Valley's sect leader, and the Han Yun sect's sect leader were also sitting in the audience seats, casting praising and encouraging gazes at them. Dad is here too, and so is Uncle Shifeng Zi. Zhao Qingkai also pointed to a direction. Shifeng Zi, Zhao Xuanxiong, Dongfang Hengji, and many other familiar figures had come from far away. Seeing the familiar faces and caring gazes, Chu Hen let out a deep breath and looked at the Grand Canyon venue in front of him, his eyes as bright as stars. Chapter 1646. The noisy and bustling atmosphere was overwhelming. Loud saluting sounds could be heard in the sky above Spiritual Abyssal Peak. The colorful rain was falling, and the vast canyon area was especially spectacular and noisy. Sister, aren't you going to greet Chu Hen? In a corner that was not too conspicuous, Huang Fu Qing and Huang Fu Hao were also hidden in the crowd. No. Huang Fu Qing shook his head slightly. With so many people here, he's probably under a lot of pressure. That's true. The Demon Eye Saint Clan situation isn't looking good. All the pressure is on him alone. After experiencing so many things in the past, Huang Fu Hao's grudge against Chu Hen had already been resolved. At this moment, the two of them came to Spiritual Abyssal Peak personally, which could be considered as giving Chu Hen everything he could. The teams of the various sacred clans entered the arena one after another. After the second round of the Ling Xiao platform battle yesterday, Abysmal, Star, Fun, and other strong sacred clans teams were reduced to spectators today. I really don't want to sit here. Yan Hanyu of Burning Sky Saint Clan shook his head helplessly. Same. Not far away, Chen Jingfeng of Star Saint Clan also looked desolate. You probably didn't expect us to not even make it to the finals, right? So what? Didn't someone not even pass the preliminary round? Ha 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 ha, that's true. After a day of adjustment, Yan Hanyu and Chen Jingfeng's mentality was much better, and they even started to mock themselves. Do you want to bet? Yan Hanyu suddenly asked. Bet on what? Bet on who wins, and the loser will quit the pursuit of Qianyu. Are you kidding me? We already lost in the second round. How can we still have the face to continue chasing her? Just tell me if you want to bet or not. You Shunin. Chen Jingfeng said decisively. Wow. You're a bit ruthless, I regret it. Don't. I'll give you two choices, 2 against 1. How about that? This. Yan Hanyu hesitated for a moment. His gaze swept over the various Saint Race spectator stands. He paused for a moment, then said, Then I'll bet on Emo Nanquan and Sin Yuan. Not the one from the Demon Eye Sacred Clan? Chen Jingfeng was a little surprised. Yan Hanyu shook his head slightly. I originally wanted to suppress him. Why don't you trust your first instinct again? Emo Nanquan is definitely going to choose. Other than that, I think that Xin Yuan is definitely hiding something, Yan Hanyu replied solemnly. Primitive holy tribe, Xin Yuan. It was just one battle. His opponent was Lu Tingyu from abysmal holy tribe. That battle conformed to the norm and wasn't particularly breathtaking. Chen Jingfeng was a little surprised that Yan Hanyu thought highly of him. Then, as time passed, people from various races arrived. Under everyone's gazes, the Emperor's throne platform slowly rose from the high ground to the north of the Grand Canyon. Just like yesterday. Under the announcement of Shangguan Wuzi, the peak master of Spirit House Peak, the 7 domineering great emperors arrived at the Sacred Race Conference's competition area in the form of clones. It's the finals, Burning Sky Great Emperor said meaningfully. The other great emperors instinctively shifted their gazes to Reincarnation Great Emperor, who was sitting on the Emperor's throne platform in the center. He had won 9 consecutive storms. He was only 1 step away from winning the 10th championship. However, the great emperors seemed to have different thoughts in their hearts. Their expressions were different, but Reincarnation Great Emperor was extremely calm. He didn't seem to have any emotional fluctuations. Even a random spectator outside the arena would be filled with anticipation and restlessness. However, Reincarnation Great Emperor's eyes were calm and unmoved. Really, even someone who has won the championship 9 times isn't nervous, but the few of us can't stay calm, the Star Emperor said with a hint of self-mockery. Haha, it's not your first day knowing him. This is very Reincarnation Great Emperor, the Desolate Emperor said with a faint smile. All right, we're the only ones who have been eliminated. Burning Sky Great Emperor shook his head. To a certain extent, the great emperors of the sacred tribe who had stopped in the second round were more relaxed. The others had some subtle changes in their emotions. Once the great emperors appeared, it meant that the finals were about to begin. The atmosphere outside the arena gradually calmed down. However, at this moment, a burly figure with dazzling lightning arcs and a domineering figure suddenly appeared on the high ground in the north. This is? Everyone present was shocked. Many of them had a strange expression on their faces. What was going on? That person was none other than the Lightning Great Emperor. Under many confused gazes, Shangguan Wuzi walked up to the Lightning Great Emperor and raised his hand to invite him. Lightning Great Emperor, please take a seat. Take a seat? Take a seat where? From afar, Shangguan Wuzi was pointing at the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform. What's going on? There was a sudden commotion below the arena. Especially the people from the Demon Eye Saint clan, they frowned. Was he trying to stir up trouble again? As expected, the Lightning Great Emperor first bowed to the great emperors on the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform. Then, in a flash, he quietly sat on the Emperor's throne platform of the Demon Eye Emperor. Wow! In an instant, there was an uproar below the arena. Astonishment rose in everyone's heart. What was going on? The Thunder Kuan's ending yesterday was tragic. Why was the Lightning Great Emperor sitting on the Demon Eye Emperor's seat with such fanfare? Humph, how shameless! Rao Failwan of the Sky Wolf sect sneered. Chu Hen, who was sitting with Zhili Wushang and the others, couldn't help narrowing his eyes. There was a hint of coldness between his brows. Looks like the Lightning Saint clan hasn't given up yet. Yan Hanyu rubbed his chin and said with interest. It won't be that easy. Even if they win against the Thunder Kuan, they won't be able to change the Demon Eye Saint clan situation. Unless that Chu Hen wins the championship, they won't be convinced. It's going to be difficult. Even though the Lightning Saint clan had lost face at the high firmament platform. But a great emperor was still a great emperor. Only a few people opposed the Lightning Great Emperor's ascension to the throne. Most people didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Battle record is battle record. Didn't Yan Hanyu and Qin Jingfeng also stop in the second round? It doesn't affect the Great Emperor's prestige. That makes sense. The Lightning Great Emperor has the strength to sit on the throne. This has nothing to do with the Thunder Kuan's defeat yesterday. That's right. Don't worry too much about this. Just wait for the finals. The speaker had a deeper meaning. The listener also had a deeper meaning. Although most people said it so lightly, for the Demon Eye Saint clan, it was as if their hearts were blocked by cotton. It was extremely uncomfortable. And Chu Han also knew that there was another layer of meaning hidden in it. The cold aura in his eyes became sharper and sharper. The Lord of Spirit Essence Peak, Shangguan Wuzi, pretended as if nothing had happened. He immediately rose with the wind and flew towards the center of the Grand Canyon arena. He landed steadily on a square platform at the center of the canyon. The finals are about to begin. Let's invite the 10 contestants who advanced yesterday onto the stage. Wow! As soon as these words came out, the hearts of the people below couldn't help but tremble. Everyone's eyes were filled with anticipation. Then, several young figures with extraordinary bearings walked down from their respective spectator stands and walked towards the canyon in front of them. Yu Shanine. Yu Shanine. The Reincarnation Saint clan will win. The Chaos Saint clan is the strongest. Sinyuan will win. Emo Nanquan, champion. Miss Bai Qianyu, we support you. All sorts of explosive cheers and applause were unstoppable, like the undulating waves of a tsunami. Big Brother Chu Hen, do your best. Chu Hen win. Yi Yao, Qiao Shaowan, Qingxue and the others also shouted at the top of their lungs, but their voices were directly drowned out by the other voices. Is there someone missing? Everyone couldn't help feeling bewildered as they looked at the few figures that had entered the Grand Canyon competition zone. There were 10 people who had advanced to the next level. There were only 8 people in front. Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer of the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe isn't here. Lu Yuji of the Reincarnation Saint clan is also missing. Dragon Destruction. Lu Yuji. Everyone was shocked and bewildered. Where is he? You still don't know? Just last night, the Dragon Destroyer was already crippled. Calm. Wonderful Bookstore Calm. Chapter 1647. Long Mia has already been crippled. Whoosh. As soon as the voice came out from the crowd, everyone present was stunned. What? Long Mia is crippled? What's going on? Are you guys joking? Who's joking with you? Many people saw Long Mia lose to Chu Hen from the Demonic Eye Clan last night. The Demonic Eye Clan? Chu Hen again? In an instant, the gazes of everyone present were filled with astonishment as they looked at Chu Hen, who was walking into the Great Canyon competition area. That guy? Even Long Mia isn't his match. The finals hadn't even started, but the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan had already been eliminated in such a manner. This was too fantastical. Even the Dragon Blood Emperor on the 10 Directions Emperor's throne platform was frowning, his eyes surging with a metallic coldness. The Burning Sky Emperor and the Great Star Emperor couldn't help but look at each other, with a gloating smile on their faces. Where's Lu Yuji from the Samsara Sacred Clan? Where did she go? After being shocked by Long Mia's misfortune, everyone was also puzzled by Lu Yuji's absence. Yeah. Why isn't Lu Yuji here either? Everyone looked around the arena, but they still couldn't find Lu Yuji. In the Samsara Sacred Clan's viewing area, only Yu Shanine had entered the Grand Canyon alone. Did that fierce woman elope with Long Mia? Yen Hanyu from the Burning Sky Saint Clan smiled frivolously. Chen Jingfeng furrowed his brows. His gaze swept across the 8 figures in the Grand Canyon, and then landed on Bai Qianyu. Could it be her? Yen Hanyu raised his eyebrows. No way. She didn't cause any commotion and ended the battle in 2 or 3 moves. I really can't think of anyone else. Among the 8, Yu Shanine naturally wasn't the one who attacked Lu Yuji. Xin Yuan from the Chaos Sacred Clan and Mo Nanquan from the Devouring Sacred Clan didn't seem to have any direct conflicts in the arena. Chu Hen had appeared in the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan's territory yesterday. As for the other 3 who had advanced by accumulating points, they weren't Lu Yuji's match. After eliminating them one by one, Bai Qianyu was the most suspicious. With Bai Qianyu's personality, it was unlikely that she would target Lu Yuji, but if Lu Yuji took the initiative to look for Bai Qianyu, then it would be hard to say. There might still be changes to our bet, Yan Hanyu said with a deeper meaning in his words. Chen Jingfeng did not answer, and a complicated look gradually appeared on his face. Meanwhile, Lu Tingyu, Yao Yong, Li Kuan, and the other geniuses of the sacred race had complicated expressions in their eyes. Amidst the strange atmosphere, 8 young men with extraordinary auras, like powerful lords coming from all directions, passed through the rivers and highlands in the Grand Canyon and ascended to the square high platform at the center of the Grand Canyon with unparalleled extraordinary auras. Shangguan Wuzi was also startled by Long Mia and Lu Yuji's absence. 2 people are missing. Shangguan Wuzi hesitated a little. Then, he said, it seems that the rules of the finals need to be slightly changed. He faced the 8 people in front of him. We'll draw lots to decide our opponents. What do you think? Sun Yuan and Mo Nanquan, and the others looked at each other and did not object. Yu Shinin of the Samsara Saint clan raised the corner of his mouth and said indifferently, "Up to you." "All right then." As he spoke, Shangguan Wuzi raised his hand and lightly flicked his finger toward the sky. Swoosh, then, a ball of fluorescent light flashed from his hand. The fluorescent light flew high up into the sky and like a rain of light, it directly split into 8 dreamy and gorgeous halos. Inside each of the halos floated an oval token that was half the size of a palm. The surface of the token was engraved with patterns and blurry characters. The characters looked like numbers, but it was not clear what was written. "One for each of us," Shangguan Wuzi said in a clear voice. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's palms condensed. Accompanied by a vigorous suction force, the 8 halos fell into their hands one after another. Clack! The moment their hands fell, the halos swung open, and a thick and heavy feeling came from their palms. The corner of Chu Hen's eyes turned cold. He saw that the number 3 was engraved on the token in his hand. "The 3rd round," Chu Hen murmured. Before everyone could confirm their opponents, Shangguan Wuzi announced loudly, "The 2 people with token 1 will stay behind. The rest will retreat outside and wait 1." Everyone below the stage was startled. They saw that 6 of the 8 people on the stage were moving. However, when they saw the 2 figures that were rooted to the spot, the expressions of the spectators immediately changed from shock to disbelief, before rapidly changing. "Oh my God! It can't be right? The first round is the highlight." "It's not just the highlight. It's the most important." A lot of noise and clamor spread out. Even the devouring great emperor on the emperor's throne platform couldn't help but narrow his eyes. Of the 2 people who stayed behind, one was Mo Nanquan from the devouring Saint clan. The other was none other than Yu Shinin from the Samsara Saint clan. Whoosh! Looking at the 2 people, the crowd became even more restless. This was unexpected. The first battle on the day of the finals was between the 2 most popular favorites to win the championship. One used only 3 moves to defeat Yao Yong from the Great Wilderness Saint clan. The other defeated Yan Hanyu from the Sky Burning Saint clan and Chen Jingfeng from the Star Saint clan. Moreover, he only used 4 and 5 moves respectively. To countless people, this was like the battle for the championship. The Samsara Saint clan will win. The Devouring Saint clan is the strongest. The supporters on both sides erupted in earth-shattering cheers. Everyone's eyes were filled with unprecedented anticipation. As Chu Hen left the stage, he couldn't help but glance at Bai Qianyu. He seemed to be curious about the number on the token in Bai Qianyu's hand. However, Bai Qianyu didn't stay on the stage for long. He walked off the stage. A strange light flashed across Chu Hen's eyes. Then, he left with the others. As Shangguan Wuzi returned to the northern spectator stand, only Yu Shenying and Mo Nanquan were left in the center of the vast canyon competition area. "Nice to meet you." Mo Nanquan clenched his fists. A formless and powerful aura spread out, causing the entire stage to vibrate rhythmically. Yu Shenying raised his eyebrows and replied faintly. It should be unfortunate, it was still Yu Shenying's tone. Even though it was calm, it wasn't inferior to any form of provocation. Emo Nanquan smiled. That might not be the case. It seems like you're very confident. We'll see, Emo Nanquan said. Rumble, as soon as he finished speaking, an incomparably majestic black storm suddenly burst out from beneath them. A heavy and violent explosion sounded. The high platform beneath them collapsed and quietly disintegrated. Wind and thunder pierced the ears. The sky above them immediately turned dark. Under countless shocked gazes, a devouring whirlpool that spanned more than 2,000 feet suddenly appeared in the center of the canyon competition area. The black whirlpool rapidly formed on the ground, like the mouth of an ancient beast. Ah, a strange, piercing laughter rang out from within. Incomparably large vine hands stretched out from the black whirlpool, instantly sealing off the area where Yu Shenying was. Bang! In the next second, the space around Yu Shenying collapsed and shattered. A boundless, terrifying, devouring power dragged Yu Shenying down along with the broken space. What? It can even devour space? Isn't this power a little too terrifying? Under many shocked gazes, Emo Nanquan seemed to be the sorcerer god who controlled this space. The devouring storm that filled the sky was like a tsunami that could overturn a small boat as it surged towards Yu Shenying. Infinite Devouring. Chapter 1648. 1 second to remember, a wonderful, no pop-up window free reading. Limitless Devour. Emo Nanquan's aura shook the heavens, as if he was an ancient sorcerer god who controlled the entire space. The devouring storm that filled the heavens and the earth was like a terrifying, peerless beast opening its mouth on the ground. In an instant, everyone present felt as if the entire Great Canyon competition zone had sunk in. Even space itself was being crushed by the terrifying devouring power. The black vortex of the storm gathered. Countless gigantic vine hands enveloped Yu Shenying along with the broken space and rapidly pulled him downwards. As expected of someone who defeated Yao Yong in 3 moves. Emo Nanquan's power is truly terrifying. Even space can be devoured. How can anyone escape? Yu Shenying is probably going to suffer a setback. Just as everyone was marveling at Emo Nanquan's strength, a similarly dark black vortex of the opposite direction swept out from the center of the chaotic power. Shing! Waves of resonant sword cries rang out from within. In an instant, dozens of black sword shadows surrounded by crimson light tore through the layers of the devouring storm. They were like aurora shuttles shuttling through the vast universe. Then, an incomparably vigorous murderous aura burst out like a terrifying beast that had broken out of its cage. Everyone in the audience was startled. Before anyone could react, the many sword shadows that tore through the giant vine hands were like blood-soaked demonic swords. Tens of thousands of gloomy murderous auras converged. All of the sword shadows quickly rearranged themselves. Accompanied by a bloody mist of flowing shadows, a Shadow Wings demonic sword that was more than 3,000 meters long immediately broke through the frenzied devouring storm. Great Azura Blade. Yu Shenying's cold and indifferent voice pierced through the layers of devouring storm and entered everyone's eardrums. In the next second, the gigantic sword that glowed with an unparalleled evil aura slashed down in Emo Nanquan's direction with all its might. Shing! The extraordinarily sharp sword aura was like a heaven-splitting divine blade. Wherever it went, the tsunami-like devouring storm was directly split apart. One after another, the giant vine hands were sliced in half from the middle. Accompanied by the distorted and cracked space, the giant blade crown swayed with thousands of powerful shadow wing cyclones and instantly slashed down in front of Emo Nanquan. The latter's expression changed abruptly. Boom! Heaven and earth shook and the sky trembled. The great blades of Azura surged like a heavenly river, shaking the entire audience. An incomparably mighty sword rune light wave rippled out in midair, causing the ground of the Great Canyon to flip up layer by layer. The devouring origin domain was like an exploding whirlpool hurricane, and the frenzied airflow wreaked havoc across the entire area. Under tens of thousands of shocked gazes, Mo Nanquan of the devouring Saint clan vomited a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Oh my God! How is this possible? Bang! The moment Mo Nanquan landed on the ground, everyone's hearts trembled. It was as if their optic nerves had suffered a huge blow. One move? A trembling voice came from the crowd. Hiss! What followed was an incomparably heavy gasp. On the Emperor's throne platform, the devouring Great Emperor had unknowingly stood up with disbelief in his eyes. The battle was over in an instant. He had only used one move. If one were to say that the first battle between the two of them was surprising, then the current result could be said to be shocking. A frenzied hurricane rose into the sky. As the violent waves gradually calmed down, Yu Shunin, who was like an Azura god of war, stood proudly in midair, dominating the entire area. His piercingly cold Azura aura was bone-chilling. His figure was like a heavenly pillar that was difficult to cross, making everyone's hearts tremble. How is this possible? Yan Hanyu, Chen Jingfeng, Yao Yong, Lu Tingyu, Sen Yuan, Bai Qianyu, and many other super-monstrous geniuses stared at the scene in shock. This was especially true for Yan Hanyu and Chen Jingfeng, who had previously lost to Yu Shunin. Both of their faces were filled with shock. Yao Yong, who had been defeated by Mo Nanquan in 3 moves, also paled. This guy, Mo Nanquan, had been defeated. His defeat was so unexpected. Yan Hanyu clenched his fists and stared at Yu Shunin, who was like a god of war, as he spat out one word at a time. Emperor Realm! Emperor Realm! Rumble! At this moment, an unprecedented uproar erupted from the crowd. Emperor Realm! Not a quasi-emperor. This was the true Emperor Realm. The geniuses of the various sacred clans trembled inwardly. Countless people's pupils shrank again and again. The power of Yu Shunin's sword was far stronger than the murderous blade that he had displayed in his battle with Chen Jingfeng. Ending the battle with one move. Emperor Realm without a doubt. Oh my God! TSK, this is too terrifying. Is this Yu Shunin's true strength? The Samsara Sacred Clan will definitely win the 10th championship. Under everyone's gaze, Yu Shunin was like a bright moon that was surrounded by thousands of stars. At this moment, all the geniuses of the Sacred Clan were reduced to supporting characters. Mo Nanquan of the devouring Sacred Clan held his chest with one hand, and his reddened eyes were filled with unwillingness and shock as he looked at Yu Shunin. Yu Shunin looked at him calmly. This is your misfortune, but also your fortune. You are the first person to make me reveal my true cultivation, misfortune and fortune at the same time. To Mo Nanquan, these words were like killing a person's heart. To Chen Jingfeng, Yan Hanyu, Yao Yong, and the other geniuses of the strongest sacred clans, it was like killing their desires. Yu Shunin, just how powerful are you? Chen Jingfeng clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles cracked. They thought that they had already suffered a great blow in the high firmament balcony. They didn't expect that an even more intense blow was yet to come. The first battle on the day of the finals, Yu Shunin of the Samsara Sacred Clan wins. Shangguan Wuzi announced the result. However, before Shangguan Wuzi could announce the second battle, Yu Shunin, who was at the center of the Great Canyon Arena, suddenly released his peerless Emperor Realm aura from his body. Everyone's hearts trembled. Then Yu Shunin said loudly, "Change the rules." Shangguan Wuzi was stunned. There are still 6 people, right? Yu Shunin looked up coldly and smirked. Why don't you take turns to fight me? Take turns. One by one? The restlessness in the hearts of the crowd could not be suppressed at all. Was this something a human would say? Yu Shunin was like a monster in everyone's eyes. A terrifying monster that dominated the entire arena and even the entire Sacred Clan conference. Yu Shunin didn't have any intention of waiting. At this moment, He didn't hide his ambition to win the 10th championship. At this moment, even the great emperors on the 10-direction Emperor's throne platform were slightly moved. Everyone's gaze fell on the Samsara Emperor at the same time. Looks like the Samsara Sacred Clan is aiming for the championship. The Heavenly Emperor token belongs to the Samsara Sacred Clan. Reincarnation Emperor was as steady as a mountain and as calm as water. However, Yushanine's Emperor Realm aura had already shocked everyone. Spirit Country Peak Master Shangguan Wutsa didn't hesitate. Even though he was the first person to change the rules of the conference, Shangguan Wutsa didn't object. He was Yushanine. Since that's the case, today's finals will continue with the domination rule of the second round. The Samsara Sacred Clan's Yushanine will be the champion of this round. The remaining 6 will be the challengers. Shangguan Wutsa quickly adjusted the rules and announced, there will be no point system in this round. There will only be one dominator. The only dominator. And the champion of the Sacred Clan Conference. In other words, any of the following battles could be the finals. Even the first battle that had just ended might be the battle that would decide the champion. Yushanine's momentum. No one could match him. After Shangguan Wutsa announced the new rules, the 3 people who advanced through points immediately looked like they wanted to retreat. Holy-eyed Sacred Clans by Qianyu looked calm. However, he didn't seem to have much fighting spirit. Chaos Sacred Clan Sin Yuan rubbed his chin and sneered, "That's a bit ruthless. Is there anyone who wants to challenge me?" Shangguan Wutsa asked loudly. No one replied. The Samsara Sacred Clan was extremely close to becoming the 10th champion. Below the stage, people were already celebrating. Congratulations to the Samsara Sacred Clan. The first of the 10 great clans is indeed worthy of its title. On the Emperor's throne platform, the great emperors were already shaking their heads and sighing. This way, the Samsara Sacred Clan would rightfully become the first of the 10 great clans and have the power to command all the other sacred clans. The other 9 clans all respected the Samsara Sacred Clan. This wasn't what the other great emperors wanted to see. However, at this moment, a slightly thin and slender figure slowly walked in from the other side of the Great Canyon Arena. The hearts of the crowd were startled. Thousands of gazes quickly gathered in the same direction. That's Demon Eye, the Sacred Clans. Chapter 1649. That's the Demon Eye Clans. Storm of the 9 Cities. The Samsara sword pointed at the 10th place. Just as the Samsara Saint Clan's Yusheniang approached the champion's throne with his peerless imperial aura, a young figure stepped into the competition zone, causing the restless atmosphere to quiet down. It's him. It can't be? He wants to challenge Yusheniang? Everyone's expressions turned strange as they watched the young man slowly walk into the valley. Bai Qianyu's brows furrowed slightly, and a faint ripple appeared in her beautiful peach blossom eyes. Yan Hanyu, Chen Jingfeng, Lu Tingyu, and the others also narrowed their eyes. There was an indescribably complicated look on their faces. On the Demon Eye Clan's viewing platform, 4th Elder, Rao Filwan, Li Kuan, and the others all had solemn expressions. They all clenched their fists tightly, their heartstrings stretched taut. As the figure gradually walked into the center of the competition zone, the atmosphere outside slowly turned silent. Every step he took seemed to cause a ripple in the hearts of the crowd. When he was about 100 meters in front of hidden Yusheniang, he raised his slightly lowered head, and a pair of eyes that glowed with a deep and gloomy aura faintly flickered with purple light. Demon Eye Clan's Chuhen, please enlighten me, A powerful, formless domain spread out in all directions. Facing the Emperor-level Yusheniang, Chuhen didn't show any fear. Arena attacker. It was confirmed. No one would have thought that the Demon Eye Clan's Chuhen would take this step after Mo Nanquan was defeated in one move. I admire his courage. I also admire his courage, but I despise his arrogance. Don't speak too early. Zhong Qishi, Lei Kuan, and Long Mia all lost to him. So what? Even Mo Nan couldn't take one move from Yusheniang. Does he even have a chance? In everyone's opinion, Zhong Qishi, Lei Kuan, and Long Mie couldn't compare to Mo Nanquan. Moreover, even Mo Nan had been instantly killed by hidden Yushenying. No one present was able to shake the Samsara sacred tribe's position as the overlord. Chu Hen's appearance was merely a stepping stone for Yushenying's rule over the valley competition zone. The two domains collided in the air, causing the space to distort in a strange manner. Yushenin stood in the air and looked down at Chu Hen like an overlord of a domain. If I were you, I would choose to stay out of the arena. That way, I would be able to preserve my life. His life was saved. As for Yan Hanyu, he didn't kill him. He also left some leeway for Chen Jingfeng. As for Mo Nanquan, he didn't make a second move. However, Yu Shenin's reaction to Chu Hen's words was clearly different. The moment he attacked, Chu Hen would become the first person to die at Yu Shenin's hands. Buzz, a cold gust of wind rose, and a cold current flowed like frost. Long Qingyang Yiyao and Long Xuanshuang couldn't help but look worried when they heard Yu Shenin's words. I should have held back big brother Chu Hen just now, Yiyao said regretfully. It's useless. Long Qingyang shook his head. From the moment he took the first step, no one can change his mind. Thank you for your reminder. Chu Hen's gaze calmly received Yu Shenin's provocation. The corner of Yu Shenin's mouth curled up. Because of you, Zhong Qishi is still lying on the ground like a dead dog. Chu Hen smiled faintly. I asked for it, as you say. A sharp glint flashed through Yu Shenin's eyes. You're standing in front of me right now because you asked for it. As soon as he finished speaking, a majestic aura, like that of a storm, surged towards Chu Hen. Yu Shenin pointed his palm downwards and shouted coldly, Human path, extreme flare blade. Swish, the sound of air being sliced apart was extremely ear-piercing. In an instant, a black, cone-shaped beam of light shot out explosively. In an instant, Chu Hen's eyes reflected a sharp point of light. Without any hesitation, Chu Hen leapt up and immediately retreated. Bang! A heavy and violent explosion erupted on the ground. The terrifying impact caused by the cone-shaped light beam was like a tiny meteorite crashing into the surface of the canyon, causing the ground to cave in. The mighty shockwaves sent thousands of pieces of rock flying and flattened layers of soil and rivers. This power! The spectators shrieked and shrank their neck. Once they were hit by an attack from a great emperor, they would immediately explode into a bloody mist. Relying on his superb reaction speed, Chu Hen dodged Yu Shenin's instant kill technique. At the same time, a bewitching, demonic purple light appeared in the depths of his eyes. Screech, following an intense spatial disturbance, the area around Yu Shenin suddenly became filled with a dense murderous aura. 8-star demon eyes, blade of life, as he spoke, waves of energy tore through the air. Rays of sharp purple light spikes crisscrossed like flying shuttles of light, attacking hidden universe god from all directions. Swish! Whoosh! In an instant, the purple light flowed through the enormous purple light piercing through the chaotic air. Whether it was in terms of speed or power, it was not inferior to Yu Shenin's attack at all. However, in the next second, Yu Shenin raised a palm. His gaze turned cold, and a ripple-like ring of light appeared in his palm. Buzz, suddenly, the thousands of purple light thorns stopped right outside of Yu Shenin's body. Yu Shenin sneered and clenched his fist. Bang! Crack! All of the purple light thorns that had gathered around Yu Shenin's body were shattered by an especially powerful shockwave. The densely packed crystal shards shattered into pieces. All of them were crushed into powder. I'm very curious. How many moves can you last? Yu Shenin laughed lightly. Crack! As soon as he finished speaking, a dazzling purple arc of lightning streaked across the sky. A violent aura rushed towards him. Chu Hen instantly appeared in front of Yu Shenin. I can last until you lose. Whoosh! The impassioned sound of the sword was deafening. Chu Hen flipped his hand, and the formless emperor blade blossomed with resplendent lightning. The sharp blade pierced towards his opponent's throat. Perfect timing. Yushinin didn't seem to care at all. Instead, he used his bare hand to meet Chu Hen's blade. Bzzz. As he sent out his palm, a circle of vigorous black light gathered between his fingers. A sharp beam of light once again appeared in Yushinin's palm. Bang! The formless emperor blade, which flickered with purple lightning, collided violently with the sharp beam of light. The power that exploded from the two instantly caused a few cracks to appear in the space around them. An incomparably ferocious force exploded from within. A series of chaotic streaks of light leaked out. While Chu Hen was forced back, Yushinin actually fell back a few steps as well. This is? Seeing Yushinin fall back as well, the spectators couldn't help but be startled. The two of them were facing each other head-on. Yushinin actually wasn't able to completely suppress Chu Hen's attack. Everyone couldn't help but be a little surprised. Even so, Yushinin still managed to stabilize himself before Chu Hen. He snorted coldly, "Not a bad idea. Unfortunately, you don't have the ability." Whoosh! Then, a black samsara storm appeared around hidden Yushinin. Next, Yushinin raised both of his arms. Shing! A series of resonant sword cries rang out. Suddenly, a dozen black sword shadows flickered with a dark light and floated around Yushinin like a wheel. Azura path, murderous blade, shing! The dozen or so sword shadows, emitting Azura fiendish chi, directly aimed their sharp tips at Chu Hen. Whoosh! Whoosh! The rapid and sharp aura was like rain. Every sword image swayed with a dense dark red shadow. The sword aura of the wings swept up a powerful killing aura and attacked Chu Hen. Facing Yushinin's powerful attack, Chu Hen didn't panic at all. The formless emperor blade danced in his palm, dragging out thousands of purple lightning bolts to meet the sharp sword shadows. Ding! Bang! Sparks and fiery rain splashed everywhere, and sword energy burst forth with dazzling light. Undulating waves of chi spread out one after another. The sword shadows were flicked away by Chu Hen one after another. Immediately afterwards, under hidden Yusheniing's control, the sword images that had been sent flying drew powerful arcs in the air. Then, they quickly rearranged themselves and erupted with a bloody aura that overflowed into the heavens. In an instant, they turned into a huge sword with shadowy wings covered in mysterious blood runes. Shing! The huge sword flew through the air, drawing a long and narrow spatial crack in the air. It slashed down at Chu Hen with a thunderous momentum that could pierce through the chaotic world.